All right, all right. Hey, welcome everybody to this very special edition of the BDA Boxing Show, call-in edition, broadcasting to you live from the true north. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad, that's right, sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, like I said, we got a very special edition. It's a call-in edition. You guys get to call in, give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. A lot has been going on in the last couple of days, and I felt it necessary to open up the phone lines here and let you guys have a say on everything that's occurring in the boxing world. Now, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. You can also join the membership program, get more bang for your buck. Join the Patreon for free if you wish, but just join the Patreon. Lets us know that there's people there. I'm about to drop a video that I've been sitting on for weeks. I'd forgotten about it. It's a Canelo Alvarez video. What does he have left as a fighter? And there's a free video coming up on our main page, perhaps tonight or tomorrow, depends. I'm also thinking of doing a second Renaissance right after this one over at Rumble, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I usually don't drink coffee after 6 p.m., but it is a special Sunday. I'm going to need it maybe. We're going to be doing 2 shows back to back. All right, fellas? Last but not least, don't forget to hit that like, spread that BDA gospel. Make sure everybody listens, that we got the silver scrolls here, and everybody needs to hear about them. Let's give a big shout out to everyone in the chat. I'm talking about Rapax Trucking Company, Dark Hey Dog, Some Rando, 3 of the initiated right there. Shout out to FST in the chat, Blue Tack 97, Mars Buck Sale, Solo, Dolo, 2 Matador, the Sergeant in the house, Night Murph is in there as well, US Buddy Love. By the way, Night Murph, shout out to him, one of the initiated. Wexford, Never Sobers. I see Gonzalo in there, shout out to Gonzalo. US Buddy Love, and many more people to come, I'm sure. Shout out to everybody for joining us. Like I said, it's an open phone line show. I don't know if anybody wants to jump on, though, and you're willing to sit through the phone lines, any of the regular panelists, let me know, and I'll add you to the panel. But it is a phone call show, so, we're going to give a little bit of precedence, first come, first serve basis for the callers. Let me open up the phone lines right now. The phone number is right there in that left and middle portion
Ready to
of your
connect.
screen.
Click connect to show now.
There we go. All right, so the phone lines are connecting, and I believe they're already open,
You are
so
now
make sure
in
to call in and give us your thoughts on anything and everything in boxing. The show, it could go on for an hour, maybe less, depends on how many people call in. It's up to you, and the phone lines are open now. Let me actually put the number up there in the marquee. There you go. That's Judas asking for his share of silver in order to betray our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. How about that, huh? Then again, without Judas, the whole story doesn't have an ending. It doesn't reach its apotheosis, its chrysalis. And so therefore, Judas was playing a part in this sordid tale. Shout out to Judas and shout out to Jesus. All right. I wanted to talk about some of the things that happened earlier today. And indeed, a lot was going on. We just saw from the UK a special Sunday fight. Benn Whittaker rematching Liam Cameron. You might recall the first fight ended in controversy when Whittaker was getting the worst of the fight over in Saudi Arabia and leapt out of the ring and managed to get a no contest, I believe. And so there was a lot of controversy and a lot of questions regarding him as a fighter. You might recall, if you're unfamiliar with Benn Whittaker, he's the guy that likes to clown opponents, inferior opponents. This time, however, nothing inferior about his performance. He got the job done. The job done, in fact, excuse me, I said jab, because he was the knight of the jab for as long as it went. It ended in the second round by stoppage. And though Benn Whittaker sort of continued his wild antics after the fight by having words with Cameron's trainer right after, just as the fight ended, and then also started mocking the crowd, it's undeniable that he made some improvements under trainer Andy Lee. He popped that jab more, controlled Cameron with that jab, and essentially showed you that he can make adjustments. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds here. So they have a very interesting fight there from Cameron. Oh, hold on a second. What is this? Using the wrong group. I'm calling because, anyway, I'm going to call Gonzalo, see what he's doing. See if he wants to jump on. But so Whittaker ends up doing a good job under Andy Lee. By the way, Andy Lee, real quick, Whittaker could have jumped in there with what's his name, Ben Davidson. He's the new trainer du jour that everybody's going to. Instead, he went with Andy Lee, who's proven to be a very good trainer indeed. They made adjustments. One thing about throwing that jab, it's easy to say, well, just pump the jab out more. Throw the jab more. Yeah, but it's easy to tire out the jab real quick if you're unprepared. That's why when you're working the heavy bag, that's where you go all out with the jabs. You're supposed to burn your shoulder out when you're throwing jabs so that when the fight comes, you're conditioned to be throwing jab after jab after jab. And you don't have to throw the jab hard in every round or every second of every round. You can pop it. You can lock it a little bit. It's illegal to leave it out there, obviously, but if you just do it maybe 2 seconds and then pull it back, the referee won't be none the wiser or will be none the wiser. So that's essentially what Whittaker was doing. He hurt Cameron early in the fight, I believe, landed a good right hand that broke to Cameron's guard, and then, of course, in the end, caught him with another counter right hand and ended the job. Although some people said the ending, they're calling it a UK stoppage, and that's a derogatory term, meaning the fight was stopped too early. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. And I see we got Gonzalo here. Gonzalo, thank you for being on. Happy Easter. Did you watch the fight? And if so, what did you think of it?
Yes, I did, Mr. Reedy. How you doing?
What's up, man?
Yeah, there's a lot of hype surrounding this guy. Not too long ago, I really didn't know who he was. I only got familiarized by seeing like some highlights of his showboating. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's got a fan following in the UK. He's pretty popular. But ever since I've been, watching them highlights and some clips and stuff, I kind of get like Josh Kelly vibes. So Josh, the guy that lost against the dude that Crawford beat. Mm-hmm. So, I'm thinking and I'm reading the comments. The guy has no power. So that's why I kind of get like the Josh Kelly vibes, ex-Olympian, silver medalist. Just found out about that today, that he won the silver medal. The guy, he's got some talent. Can he crack? Well, he proved it today against a UK fighter with 6 losses and only 10 knockouts in 31 fights. So, I mean, this is what you call it when you're pretty much, he's fighting guys at the UK level?
Domestic level.
Domestic?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, does this really prove anything? No, it doesn't. The guy got the knockout, the TKO, kind of controversial. Okay, why was it controversial? Because the referee was just too antsy to jump in after he landed the first punch, which I believe was like a right hook, and the guy buckled. He was almost ready to jump in right in that moment before like the 10 to 15 punch flurry that pretty much about half those punches were caught on the gloves. And I know he got buckled again, but it wasn't like a devastating instance where, you could call the stoppage, but just the fact that he tried to jump in just as soon as he got hit the first time just made me think, dude, these UK refs are just too willing to get the A fighter to win.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Stereotypes come from some form of reality. And yeah, the UK, and it's interesting. Jimmy once said that the way these guys probably convey to the referee that, hey, we want an early stoppage, is they can't say it outright. So what they'll do is they'll go up to the referee and say, hey, listen, man, we know you're a good ref. You do the right thing. We don't want anybody getting hurt today, so just stay on top of all things considered and just make sure we have a good fight. So they're telling him indirectly, hey, as soon as this guy gets hurt, you make sure you stop the fight. So that's probably how they do it, and it makes sense. And one of the commentators kept saying, I saw the leg go up. He would have gotten knocked out, believe me. I go, wait a minute. We're in a state of indecision, not necessarily indecision, uncertainty when it comes to a guy on the ropes who's hurt. Yeah, he could get seriously hurt or he could recover. That's why this is professional boxing. That's why these guys get paid relatively good money, especially when they're fighting on TV, because they've taken the risk. They understand the risks. They understand the notion that they could get seriously hurt. And in fact, if you ask most fighters, professional fighters, they'd rather have the fight stop too late than too soon, because we have seen guys make spectacular comebacks. Now, I'm not saying Cameron would have necessarily made that spectacular comeback, but at least give the guy the chance. Oh, he would have gotten seriously hurt. Guess what? That's what we pay to see. We watch to see guys get seriously hurt. Now I know somebody's going to say, "BDA, would you be this boisterous if the guy had gone into a coma or suffered a brain bleed or whatever?" Yeah, because like I said, these guys understand the risk. I'm not saying you got to see the guy caught on the ropes taking punch after punch, like what's his name? The middleweight fight between the gay fighter. What was his name again? The middleweight. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Emil Griffith. Emil Griffith versus the Cuban
okay.
guy. I forget. But yeah, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying let 2-3 more seconds. The guy still has his guard up. It's not like his head is swiveling back and forth and his eyes rolling up. At least I didn't see his eyes rolling up. But anyway, hey, listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a stoppage. And, Gonzalo, you said something interesting. You said you don't think the fight proved much of much. I think it did prove something. I think it proved that Whittaker can make adjustments.
Well, yes, and I'm pretty sure, like, we live in a time now, in a day and age where, like, people are trying to be like, okay, this guy shows confidence. YouTube boxer, I'm not saying he's a YouTube by any means, but he's not a devastating puncher. But, he's got skills, but they're trying to bridge the gap, or, like, he's got talent, but can you really compete against the world-class fighters? So this topic kind of, like, puts into the people's minds, okay, he did what he was supposed to. Now we go on to fight another day in the future. We can still believe in this guy. He proved basically he got to draw the first fight, so he did the rematch, and it's back to square one. Okay, we believe in him again, and that's what the people want to believe at the end of the day. Now, could he have done it in more impressive fashion? Not his fault. He did the best that he could, which he got the TKO, but the referee just kind of put a little bit of okay, I would have rather seen the dude flatten the opponent out, Cameron.
Yeah, again, people could say, "Oh, you guys are too bloodthirsty." Guess what? We're not the only ones. And imagine if Joe Cortez would have stopped the Marcus Pacquiao the first fight, after the third knockdown. Again, 3 knockdowns within the span of about a minute. Could have easily stopped the fight. But if he would have stopped it, we would have never seen Marcus's incredible comeback and the incredible fight that ensued thereafter. So I'm all for fighter safety. Yes, it's a dangerous sport, but that's the risk. They understand the risk, these fighters.
Well, there's a difference too, BDA, like between a fighter that's got his head on the swivel, like Jose Luis Castillo did against Chico Corrales, and a fighter, realizing that the other guy's quicker. Yes, he got buckled, but he's blocking punches, and he might just be waiting for the other dude to punch himself out to kind of get to sway it his way, because everything comes in waves. So the other guy punches out. You never know if this guy got good recuperative skills. To after the other guy ends up throwing, then he comes back. Now when he realizes, okay, he didn't knock me out, I could handle his speed. Now I can impose my will, but the referee never gave him the chance.
Exactly.
You never really know how strong an opponent is, even if he's a journeyman. If he can put up with it, doesn't mean just because he's not throwing that he's necessarily at the edge of just getting knocked out. No, he's blocking. He's just slower, but he's being a little patient to punch in between his opponent's punches.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This ain't a video game. Whittaker can't punch nonstop. These fighters, even though they're professional fighters and they're extremely well conditioned for the most part, they can only sustain an all-out attack for so long before they A, start slowing down, or B, back off because they understand, okay, I don't want to punch myself out this early in the fight. So anyway, it was a bit of an early stoppage, but at least Whittaker, it's not Whittaker's fault. However, there is something to say about old Ben Whittaker here. Before I do that, shout out to Tony Boswell. Reestablish his membership. Shout out to Tony Boswell for his contribution here by rejoining the membership program, extending it. Shout out to him. He says, "Happy Easter, y'all." Well, right back at you, Tony. Really appreciate your support, and I hope you're doing well on today's Holy Sunday. What's that, Guns?
Oh, no, yeah, Happy Easter. Hey, Mr. BDA, when you said old Ben Whittaker, the first thing I thought, man, when I was watching them interview Andy Lee, I was like, who the fuck is that? Andy Lee, dude, he looks like he's 55 or something. Like, he just looks...
No offense to to the Irish, because there's a lot of similarities between the Irish people and Mexicans. Obviously not skin color wise, we're far away on the spectrum, but culturally, we got some of the same conservatism involved. But the thing about Irish people is they age like milk for the most part. Not all of them, obviously. There are exceptions, but I don't know. I think that fair skin doesn't bode well age-wise. I think it's also the beard. I think it's also the beard, Gonzalo.
The beard,
looks like
yeah, because I was thinking, wasn't this guy fighting about 5-6 years ago? Or something, and then I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm getting old. He's getting old. I just put it into perspective, man. Time flies.
We're all getting old. That's why in today's Holy Sunday it represents. That's why I have the cosmos there in the background, because the not only the Earth but the universe as a whole keeps expanding and going, and time and space expands, and so do we, and we got to make the most of it. Fellas, don't forget the phone lines are open. Make sure to call in. The phone number is right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. I wanted to say something about old Ben Whittaker, by the way. Whittaker ended up going straight to Cameron's corner right after he stopped Cameron and had some words. There's even some allegations that he spat at the corner, Cameron's corner, that is. And the interviewer asked Whittaker right afterwards, hey, did you spit at him? And then Whittaker was a little bit ambivalent about answering, and then he gave a circuitous answer by saying, well, I opened my mouth, and if a little dribble came out, then, maybe. So by refusing to answer, he's saying, he's tacitly admitting or indirectly admitting that, he spat, which is completely disrespectful. And I'm glad the announcer or the interviewer, I don't know who he was, I got to find out the name. He pressed him on it. He said, did you spit at him? And then Andy Lee tried to intervene, and the interviewer said, no, hold on, I'm asking him. And it's true. And then, what's his name? Johnny Nelson afterwards was saying, well, it's an emotional moment when you stop a guy and, but then afterwards he calmed down. And I'm thinking, okay, but there's plenty of guys that get emotional when they stop somebody. They don't go out to the opposite corner and spit at the trainers. So I don't buy that excuse. He's justifying by saying it, well, he's young and emotional. Well, that's an explanation, but it shouldn't be a justification. There's no justification for doing that. And then thereafter saying, all praise to Jesus. Without him, this victory wouldn't be possible. I mean, I don't think Jesus would approve of you going. He probably would approve of you going into a bank and flipping tables over, but spitting at somebody, that's a big bozo no-no right here.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the Bible where Jesus starts flipping the tables in the temple.
Well, he flipped. He flipped, and then he started flipping tables over. But I mean, that's Jesus. You can't compare yourself to Jesus.
It gave me like Ryan Garcia vibes, Mr. Pretty, and I thought this before that happened. I don't know if he was just talking loud and like what they say, gleek, when you talk and the dribble comes out like you said. I don't know if it was intentional, but Andy Lee never refuted that. Yeah, it just kind of gave me like awkward vibes, like when you're preaching about Jesus and you do stuff like that, it's just totally weird.
It was weird, and I gotta say something. I generally dislike trash talkers. I'm not a big fan of them. One exception is Tito Mercado, and I mentioned that after his recent win against Pedraza, because it does seem from the heart from him that he really is that type of guy that believes he can fight everybody. He's not gonna take any gumption from all these other lightweights and junior welterweights who already do a lot of trash talking. So he's taking preemptive measures and going at them in a more aggressive fashion. And one of the reasons why I like his trash talking is because he backs it up. Unlike these other guys at lightweight and junior welterweight who talk the talk, but then when they step in the ring, they fight like little kittens, scared kittens in an alley fight. So I appreciate Tito Mercado. However, Ben Whittaker, the clowning inside the ring, clowning inferior fighters, clowning people. Even today, he got the win. He clowns his opponent, spits at his opponent's corner, and then praises Jesus. That, to me, is incongruent with his... I mean, well, it's the opposite of the way he really is. It's fake. Case in point, I'd already played this video a couple of months ago, but I think it bears repeating here about how you can't really be the guy who doesn't care. You tell everybody, I don't care. But then you do this in an interview.
All these kind of false narratives, but that's just not the case. And if I'm right in thinking, you actually missed your grandma's funeral to train for the Olympics, didn't you?
Are you getting all this information? We went to a training camp in Turkey, and my grandma sadly passed away, and I was very close to her, so I actually made the decision not to go, but my dad said it would be the right thing and your grandma would want you to go. So I had to go there. Getting a bit emotional. I had to go there, and then
Oh, it's okay. Take your time. We can pause. Come back to it. Sorry. Hey.
I mean, again, he wants to clown people, but then he's going around blubbering and sobbing uncontrollably because they brought up his dead grandma. I mean, come on. Pull yourself together, man. You know, all these professional boxers should know that this is what they're going to try to get from you in this interview. It's like, do you remember, Gonzalo, remember with Keith Thurman for a while there when he was fighting on the PBC? Before every fight, they would bring up his dead trainer, Ben Getty. What about Ben Getty? How happy do you think he would be seeing you today? And they would just keep poking and prodding, get him to cry. What do you think about that?
That's kind of weird.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's because, I mean, when somebody dies and I don't know. Can't say too much about that.
All right. Well, let me read a couple of comments here from the...
Mr. Brunier, but I did want to say this.
Go ahead.
In my opinion, from my perspective and my experience, I think that his overreaction to knocking, I think his last name's Cameron, the fighter that he fought, is because he's not used to knocking people out, maybe in the gym, in his professional fights, that when he did get the stoppage, to himself, he said, "Oh, wow, this is just incredible. Like, I did something that I didn't expect the opponent to wilter. And then I got the stoppage on live TV, and everybody saw, well, the referee stepped in. And it was like a glorious moment that he didn't even believe it. So, like, when you don't really, like, believe in your power like that, but you ended up, like, saying, oh, I got the stoppage. I'm proving to be, like, who I say I am. It's like it's kind of like it's too much for you to believe that you kind of react in a childish way. Because if the guy was a puncher knocking everybody out in the gym and in boxing, that would be like regular to him, normal.
I mean,
obviously it's not.
I mean, listen, I agree. I mean, Devin Haney doesn't score knockouts very often, but when he does, I don't see him spitting at his opponent's corner. You know what I mean? I mean, there's just no justification for what he did.
We can pause. Come back to it. Sorry.
By the way, people in the chat, I'm telling you, these people in the chat, they're ruthless. Warpath says, no, hold on. Dark Hay Dog says, pinche puñal. Super Sardonic says, give that man an Oscar. Okay, so people are sort of dubious that his Ben Whittaker's reaction to his then grandma. Bull Cole Sports TV, shout out to him. Del Boy, check out his channel. He says, I agree with Gonzalo on the Josh Kelly comparisons. Looks flashy, but will fall apart under pressure. I mean, he already did, right? Fall under pressure, and good for him, though. Good for him that he made the adjustments required for this rematch. But I don't know. I'm with Del Boy and Gonzalo. I'm dubious about Whittaker's ability to stay composed under fire. Grand G says you almost can't have a legendary fight anymore. It would all be stopped too early. Yeah, unfortunately. Especially when you got corrupt referees like Tony Weeks. Remember that I haven't forgotten that Rolly Romero Barroso stoppage. My goodness gracious. DJ Big Leg says, I watched the WBC Grand Prix, some really good talent on offer. I was going to watch it, but it was too long, man. And I was, middle of the day. You got stuff to do. Johnny Allison says, hey, BDA, what's good? Do you think Kid Austin, Mason with a $2.5 million demand? Do you think? Oh, I think maybe he says, what do you think? Well, we talked a little bit about it on Friday's show about how Schofield and his father have really soured the boxing world and crowd, rather, against them because of all the jawing that his father does. And by the way, I finally found it. I finally found a video of somebody imitating Floyd Schofield's father. Let me play it here, quite fortuitous. That I just read that comment. And I found a video a couple of days ago. But before I do that, don't forget to call in, fellas. Call in. This is a call-in show. This is your show. The phone number's right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. Every time we open up the phone lines, the ticker goes down. So don't make us turn them on for nothing. Call in, call in, call in, call in. There's the number. Excuse me. There's the number right there in the middle. All right. Let's play this video here. Some guy. I don't know who this guy is, though. But shout out to him imitating Floyd Schofield's father.
Honest. Since we being honest, let's be honest. Cause Shakur ain't no tank. Who did Shakur fight? Cause my boy, Floyd Schofield is the best, hands down. And I kept telling y'all that.
Oh, jeez.
We want the fight with Tank. We'll take the fight with Shakur. Anybody. It's whatever. It's up. My son is the best. And I've been telling y'all that.
He's got that down, by the way, the intonation and the cadence. And the I keep telling y'all. I keep like, okay, you keep telling us. Well, we gotta believe you. Who the fuck are you? You're a random nobody who coaches as your son as a professional boxer. Why do we gotta believe you? He's gotta prove it in the ring. I'm getting tired of these father-trainer combos. I keep telling y'all. Okay, we keep telling us, but make him show it in the ring. My goodness gracious. But yeah, that's a pretty good impersonation right there. I didn't want to play it too much, but when he goes, we on the come up. You gotta give us our chance. We on the come up. Okay, so what? How does that make you deserving? And now, I mean, asking $2.5 million for a fight between two prospects. Does he really believe anyone's going to give him that? I mean, that's the other danger with the Sheik is that he's been so generous making these fights happen that now there's going to be these grifters coming along trying to juice him, trying to extract as much as they can from the Sheik, saying, hey, listen, we'll fight this guy, but you got to pay us the big bucks. What else we got here in the chat? I just wanted to read a couple more comments. Broughton, I don't even know how you pronounce it. Broughton. Is it Broughton or Broughton? You know me. English ain't my first language, so what do I know? But he says Johnny Nelson backs up the brothers. Is that really the sentiment about Johnny Nelson over there in the UK? Because I know he used to train with the legendary Brendan Ingle, so he was a white guy. So
who's Johnny Nelson in the boxing before?
Who was he?
He was a fighter?
He was a fighter, cruiserweight fighter. Yeah, I think he held the WBO for a while. I think he scored 2012 defenses, maybe late 90s, early 2000s, thereabouts.
Oh man,
Did
he fight Orlin Norris?
Orlin, you know what? I don't know. I know he fought. I can't believe the guy that beat David Haye. I think he fought the guy that beat David Haye. The first guy to beat David Haye. I forget his name too. It was a long time ago. But he was pretty good. He had that Nassim Hamed, Junior Whittaker style of boxing. Oh, and that Harold Graham style too. Very unorthodox, hands down. A lot of upper body movement. Abel, shout out to Abel, who says Jesus is champion of the universe. No doubt. Sergeant says disgusting behavior. Super Sardonic says, I only don't like it when boring decision fighters act like they're going for their 40th consecutive KO. They're only knocking out the crowds. Yeah, I've said it before. When these guys, back foot bitch it for 12 rounds, and then the final bell rings and they jump on the corner and they start slamming their chest like King Kong, like, yeah, like as if you whoop the guy's ass. I mean, come on. Get your act together.
Well, the thing that gets me about that, okay, it's not excusable. Spitting on somebody, but if it was you beating the champion of the world, like I said, it's not excusable. But you just beat a domestic UK fighter. No disrespect, but there's levels, right?
Right.
You're beating your chest because you did that. That kind of shows the way you feel and your true potential. Like, I mean, do it when you fucking reach the top of the echelon. You're proving yourself against the best, in my opinion. But like I said, it's not excusable. Anyhow.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Gonzalo. I don't know if Recognize is on. Hold on. I think Recognize is available. So I'm going to call him. It's going to take us to another room. All right, Guns? Make sure to join that one on the Discord. Shout out to Tony Boswell, who says, agreed at BDA. You can't act like a good person and be that disrespectful. Yeah, and look, listen. Words are words. I usually, it's sticks and stones, that whole saying. But when you do it all the time and then disrespect somebody during an action, which is boxing, clowning your opponent and then spitting on your opponent's corner. And again, you know what? I keep saying that he spat at the corner, but I didn't even really see it. But the fact that Whittaker was pretty evasive with his answer is sort of indicative that, yeah, he did maybe spat at them. Maybe didn't full on spit them like a hoagie, like that, but maybe something happened. Maybe a couple of particles intentionally aimed at the corner, opposite corner. What else we got here? Don't forget to hit the like and call in, fellas. Call in. The phone number's right there, middle of your screen, and it's in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. Go ahead, Gonzalo. What's that?
Yeah, and for me, as a fan or like a person that follows boxing, it's one of those things like where, okay, now he's kind of got like this kind of weasel weird attitude where he's praising Jesus, but then kind of doing awkward weird stuff that he's kind of like pushing me to like, okay, I believe he got some skills, but he's kind of on the level. In my opinion, he's giving me the Josh Kelly vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him fucking prove himself. Can he really step up and face and beat better competition? Because if he doesn't, now he's proven to be like kind of a clown.
Right.
So if he's just doing this, he's just posturing, he's not really at that level. Hey, it remains to be seen. But then he's gonna eventually get humbled, and sometimes that keeps you kind of engaged.
He kind of looks like a clown a little bit with that hair, with that sideshow bob hair, and he kind of looks a little bit in this picture here that I'm showing people on the right. He kind of looks a little bit like Johnny Somali. That who's not even Somalian, by the way. I think he's Ethiopian or something, or another African nation that apparently hates the Somalians. So he's taking that name sort of to discredit the Somalis. He kind of looks like him. Maybe the same phenotype, and therefore perhaps maybe even the same nefarious, toxic, noxious attitude. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Yes.
No, one last thing. And what's kind of weird about that is because if a lot of people in the UK are putting their belief and stock behind him, they're going to have to like draw it back one day. Oh, yeah, he was good. But they're going to have to make a whole bunch of excuses when eventually he gets knocked out. That's why I'm kind of following what's going on with this guy now.
We shall see. Like I said on the Discord, however, you do need sort of bad guys in boxing to make it interesting, especially in the light heavyweight division, which is the division in which he's campaigning at, because that division is getting a little bit stale. I mean, Beterbiev, Bivol 3, okay, we're going to get that one. Then you got Benavidez, who might not even stay at light heavyweight that long. He might be moving up to cruiserweight. So we do need a bad guy with a flashy record and a flashy style to make things interesting. Let's go to the phone lines. Fellas, don't forget to hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 669. 669, you're on the air. 669, what's on your mind?
Hello, Mr. BDA. I'm calling to challenge you.
You're challenging me. How dare you? Especially on this Sunday.
I'm challenging you to a 1v1.
1v1? Well, you know what, buddy? You got it.
No, I'm just fucking with you. What's up, Mr. BDA?
What's up, man? I'm kind of disappointed. I was actually looking for an old drag out.
Oh, do you? I'm down. Let's go. Let's run a face. We'll run a face, me and you.
All right. Let me just go out for a jog, see how my cardio's doing, and then I'll call you back.
Oh, no. I'm going UK style. I'm going knife in the hand.
Oh, wait a minute.
Another knife in the other hand.
Well, that's US style too, man. If we're at a track meet and I ask you to move from my seat, and then you reach into your bag, I mean...
Oh, no. You're going to get it, dude. Don't ask me to move. I'm not moving.
Oh, jeez, Luis. All
right, my reparation.
All right, let's not get into that. What's up, man?
Not much, man. I'm honestly kind of hyped for this really bad Eubank fight. Because, I don't know, this might be Canelo's next opponent after. Might be interesting to see what's up with that. But I think they're both really bad fighters, to be honest. I don't... Well, I'd rather honestly see the parents fight. That's why that might be more interesting.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what's interesting about that caller is Conor Benn is the one that actually with the upside. He's the younger fighter. He's potentially could be campaigning in a division either welterweight or junior middleweight, which is ripe with talent and skill. Do you think? And meanwhile, Chris Eubank, I think he's in mid-30s. So, do you think if it goes to a close decision or whatever, Conor Benn gets the edge with the judges and with the establishment?
No, well, not necessarily. I think Eubank is the guy they want to win.
You think they want Eubank to win?
Yeah, he's more popular over there. He's more he's not very charismatic, to be honest, but I guess he's just more well-known. He's got a bigger name behind him.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't expect. I mean, I don't know what's going on in the UK, so maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Either way, that's
they
really
love the drama between the parent and the dad and him. That's every time I see anything like tabloid related with the UK, it's always drama between senior and junior, arguing, fighting. You know.
That's a weird dynamic right there. I wouldn't want to get between those two. So what else, Caller? What else is on your mind?
The Conwell fight. That was a really good fight, actually. I watched that yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Conwell versus Sanchez. No, what was the guy's name? Perez. Perez, yeah.
Chino Perez.
What'd you think of that one?
Honestly, it was really. It's very rare when you see a fight so close, and I was afraid they were gonna rob Perez because he's not the guy they want to push. He already has a couple of losses. He's older, but for once, the judges actually were looking at the fight.
That's right. For people that don't know what we're talking about, Charles Conwell, who's rated in the top 10 for the junior middleweight division, which, like I said earlier, red hot with talent. And some people were saying that he could be the dark horse of the division. In fact, when we did our extensive look at the 154-pound division a couple of months ago, he was one of the guys that we said, keep your eye on him, see what he can do, let's see what he can make happen. And he fought Jorge Garcia Perez, fourth fight for Conwell in the last 12 months, and he came up short via split decision. How old is Perez, by the way? Oh, 28. I just saw it. 28.
28.
All right. So,
I think it's interesting that you bring that up, that Perez fights a lot. This is his sixth fight, if I remember right, in almost a year. A little more than a year, 14 months, I think. So, I mean, activity. He looks like a sharper fighter.
Yeah, because I saw some people on Twitter making, saying that, maybe Conwell's activity cost him, too many fights within 12 months. I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, Perez also fought like 5 times in the last 12 months, like you mentioned, or 6, whatever the numbers are. Well, how come he didn't feel it? Or was he having easier fights? Was he ending them quicker? I don't know. But I don't think it was the schedule that made Conwell lose. I just think it was a lack of skill. He smothered his own work.
He did a lot of bad things. It's strange because Conwell's he's a good fighter, and I think he'll bounce back from this. But he did smother his work. He kept running into the jab, into the uppercut, like consistently, and he kept letting Perez shoe shine most of the rounds.
That's right. I want to see Perez again. I don't think he beats Bohashok or Mortazaliv, because those guys have a bad style for him. But it would be interesting to see him again. We'll see what happens. Anyway, listen, caller, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call, and call back next time.
All right, thank you.
All right, take it easy, man. Shout out to Joe in the chat. I don't know if that's the real Joe. You never know nowadays, but shout out to Joe if that is indeed him. He says, Happy Easter to BDA and the whole BDA community, ! Oh, okay, so see, now when I'm reading that now with the exclamation point, I'm reading it with the JDA voice. Happy Easter, Mr. BDA! And the whole community.
That's JDA?
What's that?
Is that somebody saying they're JDA?
No, I think it is JDA. Because I think I saw him on the Discord the other day. His icon was active, I think. So shout out to JDA.
Yeah, I got nothing to say to that guy. Fuck that guy.
Oh, come on. Wait a minute. What? How dare you? Shout out to Recognize for jumping in. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 410. 410. You're on the air. 410. What's on your mind?
Yeah.
What's up, Jerry?
What's up, buddy? Shakur Stevenson. There is, in my estimation, no bigger disappointment in boxing than that boring motherfucker right there. Okay? He's boring as fuck, and he's disrespectful, and he's stupid. He's a stupid dude. He had the worst title fight I've ever seen against De Los Santos. I told another YouTube channel, I said, that was the worst title fight I've ever seen. And he was like, nah. Well, then a couple of days later, CompuBox came out and said that it was the fewest punches thrown and landed in any world title fight since they started counting.
Whoa.
That guy did not land, he did not land double digits in any round out of those 12 rounds. A horrible display of basically running. But instead of running, moving laterally, he was jumping back out of range.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it didn't look like the typical running, which you see is fighters moving laterally constantly. Instead, he was jumping out of range, and it was preventing him from getting hit, but it was also preventing him from being in range to hit. The guy is a straight spoiler. He gets booed everywhere he goes. And this fight against Zepeda, I wouldn't be surprised if Zepeda wins that fight because he's a pure pressure fighter. Yeah, he's not a skilled fighter, but you still got to be able to deal with him. And dealing with him means being able to slave off that pressure. And Shakur Stevenson, he can't punch. He doesn't stay in the pocket to use, to counter well. He just runs and spoils. And even if he wins the fight, he's going to look horrible doing it. It's just going to be more criticism for him. Until I see something different from that dude, I got him all the way at the bottom of the list. I don't even really want to see him fight. I do want to speak a little bit about the card in Times Square. I think that's a great card. All three matchups to me are good and intriguing. And the fact that they're having it there, that's a very eventful thing. Boxing needs that. It definitely needs that because that's going to get not just all the sports media, it's going to get a lot of mainstream media being there in Times Square. And I think the matchups are good. Even the main event, a lot of people, Rolly, justifiably so, they are down on Rolly right now, and I'm not painting Rolly as any type of all-time great, certainly not. But he is a strong fighter, and he's awkward. And that can spell problems. And I could give you tons of examples. Mayorga and Forrest, Madonna, Mayweather. It's not like Ryan Garcia is some masterclass boxer because he's not. He's got a great left hook and good hand speed, but his footwork is garbage. His defense is garbage. It usually consists of turning his back entirely to his opponent. He gets hit. This is I could see an upset in all three of those fights.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to go with the favorites because but to me they're good matchups and a good eventful type of card. So I'm looking forward to that. Eubank and Benn, if you know the history of their fathers, and I'm easily old enough, I remember their father's rivalry, and for both of them, Eubank Sr. and Benn Sr. to have world-class fighters as sons, it's a no-brainer that they fight. That's a huge fight over there, huge. What I hear is a 60,000-seat venue, and it's sold out.
Whoa.
It's big, yeah. And I expect it to be competitive. What's his name? Eubank is bigger than Benn. I think if Benn hadn't had that steroid thing, they would have fought already, at least once, maybe twice. But with Benn cutting the weight, or Eubank cutting the weight, and Benn, putting on, I don't think it's going to come down to a size issue. It's going to come down to who's the better fighter and who wants it more. And I'm looking forward to that. The only fight I'm not really looking forward to is Canelo and Skull. And I've bought all of Canelo's fights over the years, but I may not buy that one. But watch that turn out to be a killer fight because every time you underestimate a fighter you haven't seen or don't know, they show up and, a lot of times they're way better than, you just don't know them, you know what I mean?
That's right.
You just haven't seen much of them. And I haven't seen any of Skull. I haven't bothered to look for any YouTube vids. I've seen a couple still photos. He looks like he's a very fit, strong guy. And Canelo is 65 fights in. Let's face it. He hasn't scored a knockout in his last, I think, 5 fights. And this guy might be tougher than what people think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I mean, that's why we pay to see these fights because you just never know. That's why these guys step in the ring. Jerry, we got to move on here, but always good to hear from you, and call back next time, all right? Happy Easter.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, that's Shakur Stevenson. By the way, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Don't forget, this is a call-in show. This is your show. You guys get to call in and give us your thoughts on everything boxing. And Jerry just called in and started the call by talking about Shakur Stevenson. And it's already been announced Shakur Stevenson will be fighting in one of the Riyadh season cards. He will not be the main event, and rightfully so. It just doesn't bring that type of excitement, even if he's fighting a guy who might make it exciting. But this is what the card will entail. Hamza Sheeraz is going to be joining up with Andy Lee as his trainer. Like I said, Andy Lee is starting to get some traction going as a trainer. And he's going to be moving up to super middleweight and take on Edgar Berlanga. He's going to take on Berlanga at 160 pounds. Let me tell you, Sheeraz has that pencil neck. We've seen him hurt twice in his career before. Now moving up at 168. I know Berlanga hasn't looked like a puncher in his last couple of fights, but goddamn, when you're fighting Canelo Alvarez, yeah, you're not going to look like a puncher. That guy has a chin made of tungsten. I'm curious to see what happens here between Sheeraz and Berlanga. That's an interesting fight. Of course, on the undercard is Shakur Stevenson versus William El Camarón Zepeda for, I don't know, bump up the lightweight division. And who else did they say? Oh, yeah, Matias versus Puello. Subriel Matias versus Alberto Puello. That's an interesting fight right there. And what was the other fight? They don't even say here. People in the chat, let us know what the other fight was. I can't believe I can't find it here. They don't even say. How dare they? Does anyone in the chat know? Hold on, let me see the chat because I don't know if people on the panel know. He's a pig that don't fly straight. He's a hazard. Morel's fighting? So wait a minute, PBC guys are fighting on this Riyadh season again? I think that, where else are they going to fight if not in Riyadh season? Then they only get one fight per year. But who's he fighting? Let me go back to Ring Magazine here, see if they can, because they don't tell you. Ring Magazine, Stevenson, Puello, Matias. They don't say. I think those are the fights for. Oh yeah, Morel's fighting. Morel, the Cuban suffered his first loss. Morel will look to return against Imam Kataev, a 30-year-old Russian. Kataev is 10-0 with 9 knockouts. Enters the bout on the heel of a bruising decision win over Durval Elias Palacio in March. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna have to check him out on YouTube to see who he is. But yeah, that's a good card right there. Stacked, as they like to say. Stacked. That's really stacked. It's not like PBC stacked. You know, PBC, when they say stacked, they mean a bunch of guys who haven't fought in over a year. But this, good fight. Good card. By the way, Stevenson also in the news because I believe it was 2 weeks ago. He was at an event and they asked him about the Sheik. But some guy asked him, what do you think about them towel boys? What do you think about them towel boys? Which is a reference apparently to the Sheik because, they were over there in Saudi Arabia. They wear those towels over their heads. And Shakur Stevenson replied by saying, fuck them towel boys. And well, a couple of days ago, he came out and said, excited about my next fight. It was a misunderstanding between Turkey and the team. My apologies on my part for overreacting. Let's work at Turkey Al Sheik. So immediately, people on the internet went to work. Now that Shakur Stevenson bent the knee to the Sheik, and people came out with these images right here. Guys on the panel, I don't know if you can see it, but if you check out the screen on YouTube, you will see the AI art that some people are coming up with manufacturing in order to represent what's going on. Here's another one. This is the Sheik with his hand and arm over Shakur Stevenson's shoulder, and the Sheik says, make public post apologizing to me, or I will make you fight your fake brother. Don't test me, outlaw. And then Shakur says, and he's crying there, he says, okay, master, I won't say fuck the towel boys again. Please feed me another Padley. I wonder if people are going to say that this is racist, by the way. The usual suspects, everything's racist for them. Like Floyd Mayweather told Logan Paul.
Hey, it's definitely racist calling Arabs towel boys. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I know plenty of Muslim people here in Canada, and they would take offense to that such a statement. Recognize, I know you work. I know you work with a lot of Arabs too. What do you think friends of yours would say about that? About such comments?
They will Allah Akbar.
Oh, wait a minute. Can't say that.
I mean snack bar. Snack bar.
Snack bar. You mean that isn't that the what's his name? Victor Conte, right? Snack bar.
Yeah. They'll make you test.
I gotta tell you.
That's
It's
a
no joke.
Shakur, I don't know if he still lives in Jersey, that part of Jersey. There's a lot of them out there. He better watch his mouth.
That's true. Hey, New York, New Jersey, in that area, there was a lot of migration from the Middle East about 30, 40 years ago, especially now, I believe. So better watch it, mister. Watch that keister, mister. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Oh, I got my O. Do you? You got your O. I got my O. Do you? I got my ring. You got your ring? Okay, I had a ring. You had. And I gave it up. Plural. And I gave it up. Yeah. I'll get that one. And I get.
Yeah, that
I think
was.
He said that. Teofimo said that wrong. He said plural. You mean past tense? That's what he meant.
Yeah. He said, yeah. What the fuck was that, by the way? You had your.
Yeah, I don't.
What did he call it? He called it an adverb.
Yeah, he said plural. He goes, you had
plural. Yeah, what's? See, that's why when these guys call it, when these fighters go, you ain't never boxed before. You ain't never, that when they try to pull rank, I would tell them, listen, I don't want to hear you talking about grammar, about writing, about proofreading, because evidently you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to that.
I'm not gonna. I didn't even catch on to that. I got to give credit to my son. My son said, that guy's stupid as fuck. He said plural.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah. Had a no. That a wrong adverb. It's like, what? He doesn't know what he's talking about, man. But yeah, shout out to Teofimo for that. By the way, Joe is calling in. Old JDA is calling in. Let's see what he has to say.
Toughen up! No, I don't want to. This is a fucking ballet.
There you go. Shout out to Joe giving us some good advice. Come on. What's the matter with Joe? Recognize?
I don't want to talk to him.
I mean, well, maybe I want to talk to him. How about that?
All right. I mean, you could talk to him. I just don't want to say nothing.
I will talk to him. But yeah, that's an interesting fight there between Shakur. I see a lot of people saying Shakur Stevenson is going to dominate Zepeda, and I don't know, man. I think it's a different. I mean, I'm picking him to win. I give him the edge, but he's got brutal hands. Zepeda. I mean, Shakur Stevenson did okay against Hartunonian. He didn't run, and I think Zepeda, even though he's a bit of a heavy-handed guy, his output or his approach is more volume-oriented. So I don't know but his power really, I don't think he's going to take Shakur Stevenson out of his element with any one punch. Although again, that's the book on Shakur Stevenson. We don't know what he's got.
The thing that I've been thinking about, not necessarily it could be categorized as a weakness that Shakur doesn't do good against other left-handed fighters because he doesn't have the lead left foot control. Against a shorter fighter like Valdez, when you're a right-hander, you can kind of create that compass with your lead foot that's kind of blocking that other dude from stepping in, your opponent. But against another left-hander, the feet are staggered to where he's not going to be blocking your foot if he doesn't necessarily make a considered effort to like put the foot there to block you from jumping in against, especially against if your opponent is shorter like Valdez was. When you're taller and you're lefty, the feet are staggered, so that foot control is not going to be there for Shakur because I've seen him do better against righties than lefties, even though he's won against lefties. But that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, you got a good point. It's an interesting fight for sure. And people could look at the farmer fights for Zepeda and go, "Oh, you said he's not gonna watch out against Shakur Stevenson." But Farmer was doing a lot of clinching in that fight. A lot of clinching. One can only wonder how the fight would have gone had the referees done their job and actually impeded Farmer from clinching. As it was, we saw what we saw, and even then, Farmer just couldn't keep up with Zepeda. So we'll see if Shakur Stevenson can. And Gonzalo brings up a good point about the southpaw versus southpaw stance. Let's go to a phone call.
Here's another thing, BDA, real quick. I think that Farmer got more credit than he deserved. He handedly lost the two fights, but apparently to the judges it was close. I believe it wasn't.
Yeah, a lot of fight fans too on Twitter giving credit to Farmer for just doing well, which is crazy because he came on the heels of Bill Haney saying that Mexicans get a lot of credit for just doing half of what Afro-Anglos do, whereas Afro-Anglos do more but get half the credit. And he got disproven a couple of days later when Farmer went the distance against Zepeda, clearly lost the fight and really only made it the distance because he kept on clinching. And yet you saw a lot of people there, instead of saying, wow, good win for Zepeda, who made improvements in comparison to the first fight. No, the story of the fight was Zepeda wins in tough fight against greedy Farmer. I'm thinking, what was greedy about it? He clinched his way to go to the distance. I don't think that was that greedy. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
I beat my own ass.
I beat my own ass. That sounds kind of weird, man. That sounds kind of weird.
Yeah. I love that interview. That was like one of the best. I don't know what the fuck that was, dude. That was awful.
What do you think about
Ryan Garcia talking about I got set up by Haney's brother. This motherfucker talking about he was banging his own ass, and the other guy's delusional, thinking that he's still undefeated. Like, you know, the only guy that's normal is Ramirez, and maybe Broly looked more normal than these guys, which is really difficult to say. Yeah,
Rolly looked kind of shell-shocked. So did Ramirez. Look like he looked like an old guy at the home, just sitting there shaking a little bit.
Ramirez, you know what bothered me about Ramirez? He just looked cold.
Yeah.
The entire time, he looked like he was trying to warm up or something. Like he needed to roast fucking marshmallows by a fire because he was fucking just so cold.
Well, he's unaccustomed. He's from the West Coast. He's unaccustomed to that low temperature.
and he's on a diet, so yeah, that's going to do it to you. You guys talking about that fight with Zepeda, man. That shit was...
All right, come on. It's Sunday. Come on, man.
It didn't deserve a rematch. And I think that Farmer, you know, I could see why people think he did better. He had pockets. He had moments in the second fight. In the first fight, obviously, he had that he dropped Zepeda. Farmer dropped Zepeda, and I was like, okay, I don't think he really hurt him, but he dropped him, and Zepeda kind of came in haphazard, and his defense is something to be desired. But the second fight was just a mauling. I mean, the fight should have been stopped at two. There were two different points in the fight. And believe me, I know Farmer had his moments. He had his pockets where he came up with counter punches, and they were great. But at that point, it was like Zepeda didn't look fazed by the power. And there were a few moments in that fight where Farmer looked like he was really in trouble. And I'm thinking, like, this guy already has a neurological disorder. I think he has like Tourette's or something. You know, because he keeps like flicking his head up. You guys noticed that, right? When he does that in fights, he kind of is like he's like motioning you to look at the ceiling, like, hey, look at that spider, like, you know, and you know, it's like something's wrong with this dude. This guy's not going to walk away from the sport. I mean, I don't care if you don't think Zepeda maybe didn't hit him hard or didn't do enough damage. If you're taking shots like that for 12 fucking rounds, I'd rather get knocked out. You know, I'd rather take one clean shot and get knocked out, and that's it. But if you're going to take shots like that for 12 rounds, that guy did not look okay. And I saw all the feedback online, like, oh, no, I think it was really close. I'm like, what the fuck were you watching? Really close? Do you think that was close? The dude's probably going to have to fucking eat from a straw when he's, 43. You think that was close? That was fucking terrible.
I know, man. It's not as terrible as your potty mouth today. But you're right, man. I don't understand why people... I don't understand why people... And I understand Farmer claiming he won. I mean, he's the fighter. Fighters say that. But some fans... it wasn't many, but it was some. And people praising him for going 12 rounds. I mean, I thought Bill Haney said that Mexicans get half the credit for doing... 100% of the credit for doing half.
I heard that, too. I think that was kind of ridiculous. I mean...
I don't know.
I mean, it's happened, I guess... It's happened on both ends. Like, people... It's happened. I mean, we can't say it hasn't happened, but it's happened.
We can say it's happened.
It's happened. It's happened to black fighters. It's happened to It's happened to Mexican fighters. It's happened to a lot of fighters. Like, you know, it just happens in the sport. There's always bad calls. I mean, this is not new. And it's not just exclusive to one demographic. It's just, it fucking happens to people even in their hometown versus the other guy. The other guy gets this kind of nod for kind of just not really doing much, but you know, he gets there's a split decision win, and you're thinking like, what fight were these judges watching, or which fight was that one judge watching? I can't even recall the last time because it happens so often. And for you to just make it about race and just start saying like, oh, only Latinos get the fucking, or Mexicans get the it's just dumb. But I also think that Zepeda, Shakur, I do have it for Shakur, and I think it's going to be a back foot bitch boring fight. But then how do you keep that guy off of you? That's the question. Like, I know you guys have Shakur winning, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a little tougher than people think because the guy's got an engine. He's got to be doing PEDs. He's got to be doing, like, how do you... He wasn't he the guy that threw the most punches in lightweight history?
Probably. I don't know. Sounds about right.
No, I heard actually, if you guys look it up, I heard he was in the history of lightweight boxers, he threw the most punches of any fighter in the history of the lightweight division. That's what from what I hear.
Well, since they've been counting.
Since they've been counting. Okay, so since they've been counting, and they've been counting for a long time. So I don't know, man. Like, you know, the whole testing thing also made me feel weary about this guy. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say he's on it or not. I mean, I think they're all on it, in my opinion. I really do. I think all fighters are on something, whether it's to cut weight or to make some significant gains.
Whatever Zepeda's taking to make him at his best, they'll take that away from him. More than
well, I disagree. I disagree slightly because he throws a lot of volume, but they're not always the best quality of punches. So sometimes he's slapping, sometimes he's not. Yes, he throws a lot of volume. You also got to consider he's from a high elevation where he lives in Mexico City, close to where Salvador Sanchez was from. So those guys got good gas tank because their lungs, because of high elevation. But at the same time, they're not quality of punches.
That's something to consider.
He's overexerting himself to the point to where sometimes his chin is vulnerable because he's throwing too much and he's leaving himself weak when he catches punches. So he's kind of not there when it comes to resistance, catching punches, but when delivering, he's throwing too much. So yeah, he's going balls out when throwing, but then again, it's not always the best quality of punches.
No, that's true. They're not always the best quality of punches. He can get very sloppy. At some points, he looks a little more measured and composed, but that's not that often. The guy's style is just like punch, 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 and whatever goes out goes out. And he's not always looking out for what's coming back. And it's kind of hard, you know. You get used to that. You get used to when if you're having that high up output, your defense is your offense because you don't give a guy a chance to breathe. But if you get a guy like Shakur that can move and you know he's a very good technician. He's a good counter puncher. Although his punches have no fucking effect on anybody. I mean, I saw him crack Padley as hard as he fucking could. He broke his hand on Padley's head. And Padley walked away without even a fucking black eye or no swelling. He looked fine. He looked like he just finished a 12-hour shift at the power plant, like running fucking electricity.
Well, listen.
And
it's an excellent point right there. Excellent point. We'll see what happens with that fight. It's an interesting fight for sure. We got to move on here, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I'm definitely gonna tune into that one. And this whole card is going to be pretty good.
That's what he said.
I actually agree with Geriatric Jerry.
Come on! What's the matter with you?
On the upcoming fights with Teo and fucking Rolly and all these guys. So yeah, I can't. I'm gonna purchase the whole card with the Canelo fight the next day and all that shit. It's a pretty good card. I mean, for like $80, you get two days of fights. That's great. Good price for me. I don't.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
All right,
man.
guys. You have a great fucking Sunday, BDA.
All right. Shout out to Don Mardassos. Don't appreciate the language, but hey, it is what it is. We can't stop him. It's he's gonna have to answer to God, the pearly gates, if he even gets there. By the way. Shout out to
one or two.
That's one of the things that I wish, and I don't know. Probably it has to do with the trainer. Like with Panda Nahara, why doesn't William Zepeda just take a step back, catch his wind? Because he's got wind, because he's throwing balls to the ball. But let him be a little bit more reserved and throw a snapping punch like Eric Morales. Remember, Zepeda's 5'9". He's tall, dude. He's got length. He can throw a quick fucking punch down the middle. He could, but he seldomly does. Mm-hmm. He's just throwing these slapping hooks. Why not throw a straight punch where you turn the punch over, try to punch a snap behind it, then put a hurt on your opponent, then go back to volume. Mix it up. Volume with some snapping punches that are going to lace your opponent with some type of power.
Well, he does take some steps back sometimes. I got some clips in a Patreon video where against Farmer in the first fight, he was coming in, then he would take a step back, turn him, and then keep digging with body shots. But, it's just difficult when your opponent keeps lunging forward, trying to tackle you, for the clinch, and the referee doesn't do anything about it. I mean, it is what it is. I don't understand this whole concept of clinching. I was talking about that on Friday. Whenever you tell people that clinching is bad for boxing and that it's illegal, partially one of the reasons why it's bad for boxing, they will come out with the lack of argument, which is, well, it's part of boxing. Okay, but the argument isn't whether it's part of boxing or not. It's whether it's bad for boxing and whether it's illegal. And yes, it is illegal. The rule book says it. The only source that I've managed to find where it qualifies the illegal tactic as excessive clinching, that's from the WBC. All the other organizations, the Association of State Athletic Commissions, the IBA, they all say clinching is illegal. It's a form of defense, but not self-defense. In other words, what Ryan Garcia does, where he turns his back to his opponents, bends over and spreads his ass cheeks. That's not boxing defense. You got to defense within the rules of boxing is slipping, bobbing and weaving, blocking shots, taking a step back, but not turning your back. In a street fight, if a guy's got a knife and you got nothing, you turn your back and you try to run away, or that's a form of self-defense, but that's not boxing defense. That's not boxing skill, and it's against the rules. So is clinching. So is moving excessively for 30 seconds at a clip without throwing a single punch. That's what the rules say, unequivocally. We got a phone call. Let's go to our phone call. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps out. Let's go to 858. 858, you're on the air. 858, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's Jose.
Oh, Jose, what's up?
I was just listening to the show. Yeah, well, I agree that Zepeda's not a perfect fighter. His offense is his defense. So he's gonna have some vulnerabilities. Besides that, I think Tevin Farmer was underrated. Plus he was champion, and then plus he was left-handed. So I think that was like the first fight Zepeda got kind of exposed, but he won both times. So he said he learned a lot too. And on the flip side, man, like everybody like keeps giving Shakur Stevenson like the benefit of doubt, man. Like, what has he done since he? He fought Padley, but before that, what has he done? What was his? Ever since he fought De Los Santos, he canceled. He was supposed to fight this other guy. He canceled. He got a pass for that, and then he just fought Padley. And when he fought Padley, not only did he not hurt Padley was tagging him up. So I don't agree with all what they say about Shakur Stevenson, that he's a defensive wizard. He jumps back. He just jumps back to avoid punches, and then he doesn't even he gets hit too. So, but anyway, that's my.
Well, I agree with almost everything you said, except with he never hurt Padley. He did hurt him. That's why he stopped him.
Oh yeah, he hurt him. Yeah, he hurt him. He stopped him at the end, but the people were bored. He barely stopped them. plus Padley was he got, that was like a last minute replacement, man. He didn't get a proper training camp, and like he was in there, in the beginning, So
That's right.
He stopped him, yeah, but he doesn't have punching power like that. I mean, yeah, he's decent and all. But I mean, it's more of an even fight. He's not what they say he is. Is all I'm saying, Like when it comes to a fight night, he's like when you put him up against like an even match opponent, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, you're right.
He doesn't want to trade. He's scared. He gets hit too, So like only people that I hear hyping him up is like Terrence Crawford and all this, but he's not. He needs to prove it in the ring. He needs to put up the exciting fights. Like the same what you say about Pitbull Cruz. He's gotten beat, but people love to see him fight.
Right, but that's the thing, Jose, that he's not.
Last time Shakur was getting criticism over the De Los Santos fight, and like I said, what has he done since then? All of a sudden, he got like everybody gave him a pass. They forgot about him. They went back to Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, Jose,
this and that. But like
Jose, can you hear me? He's not gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Don't expect that, man. He's not gonna all of a sudden change his spots and become excited. What the best you're gonna get out of him is what he did against Padley and against Hartunonian. He's gonna outwork guys, make him miss. Kind of like Winky Wright. Every round is gonna look the same. He's hitting his opponents. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Every once in a while he'll get hit, but for the most part he'll make a miss. Rinse and repeat. 12 rounds. That's what you're gonna see.
But honestly, that's why I like this fight, man. That's why I like this fight because I think Zepeda with this pressure. I still think the same as I did even before he fought Farmer. I think with this pressure he could get to him, because plus he doesn't punch that hard, so that's one thing, like that would he's gonna hit Zepeda, but he's just gonna keep coming. Like I think Farmer's was a tougher fight for him than what Shakur would be. I mean, this is my opinion.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see indeed. All right, Jose, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call and call back next time. Take it easy, Under.
Right, yeah.
All right, that was Jose right there. And you know what, Gonzalo, to a certain extent, I just remembered that the best Zepeda's ever looked was against fellow Southpaws. When he took on Maxi Hughes and Cabrera, he blew them out of there. Now, of course, I will agree, Shakur Stevenson is superior to those two guys, but those two guys weren't bad either. I mean, Maxi Hughes, in my eyes, outboxed George Kambosos in one of the worst robberies of 2023. Maxi Hughes should have walked away with a win on that one. And Cabrera made Isaac Cruz look very, very bad indeed. In the meantime, meanwhile, Zepeda goes in there and blows those guys out of the water. So, yeah, it's going to be, Shakur Stevens is going to have to work if he wants to walk away with a win in that fight. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps out. I want to talk about this. Hamza Sheeraz, the aforementioned Hamza Sheeraz, is going to be taken on Edgar Berlanga at 168 pounds when is it? June. And June, right? Yeah, that's what it said. And he's changing trainers, as I mentioned earlier. He's hooking up with Andy Lee, who we just saw in the corner of the victorious Benn Whittaker earlier today. And this is what he had to say. He said, hold on, why is it not appearing on the screen here? 2 seconds. Where is it? Getting a little distracted here. I got so many windows open, I can't find it. So like I said, he's hooking up with Ben Davison as he builds up to 168 pounds. Curious to see whether he can pack on muscle and maybe a little bit more muscle on that neck to absorb shots. Yeah.
That's a good fit, BDA, just because of boxing styles. Andy Lee, remember when he knocked out that dude, he got a good counter. So if Hamza Sheeraz got a good jab, but he was kind of like not throwing the counter with his power hand as much, maybe due to the similarities in styles, Andy Lee can teach him how to catch the opponent because Sheeraz got power. He just knows how to learn how to throw with confidence. If you can teach Sheeraz to throw a counter with good power, and he can land accurately, yeah, he can start getting some stoppages against quality opposition.
That's what I want to get to, though, Gonzalo, because Sheeraz was training with Ricky Funes from the United States, and Funes, who All right. Sorry about that. I thought I'd taken care of that. My bad. I think we're back. Refresh. We are back. Sorry about that. I keep apologizing for it, but it ain't my fault. What do you want from me? We are back, and if this keeps on happening, I guess we're gonna have to move on because we can't be doing this all the time every 5 minutes. But shout out to everybody who's still here. All right, recognize is back. I think we're back on the air. Don't forget to refresh, people. Refresh. I wanted to say then that so Hamza Sheeraz is training now under the tutelage of Andy Lee, and this is what he had to say. He said, it's old school training, back to the basics, learning how to use what you have to the best of your advantage. I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. That's what Ricky Funes was doing with you. Why all of a sudden is that a bad thing? Like, what's going on here? And more interestingly than that, he addresses the fact that people are going to lobby a little criticism. They're going to criticize him for changing trainers, in other words. This is what he had to say. He said, quite a dramatic move, but I went to see the setup, that Andy Lee has over there in his gym, and it's perfect for what I need. People might say I'm using it as an excuse to change, but as a fighter, I need a change. I need a fresh start. What does that mean, fellas? Can you understand where he's coming from in terms of a fresh start? But why a fresh start after one bad performance? What do you guys think about that? About that old Oscar De La Hoya, Amir Khan move of after every bad performance or every loss, they switch trainers?
I think it has a lot to do with optics and Turkey Al-Rashid. They're trying to rescue a guy that's got a lot of hype behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're doing now, just to keep the people engaged.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't like this from Alhamdulillah. What's his name again? I'm sorry, not Alhamdulillah.
What's the matter with you? I'm telling you, the Muslims over there in Florida or New York, wherever you're at now, they're going to come at you, man.
I forgot his name, man.
Hamza Sheeraz.
Yeah, okay. I thought you said Alhamdulillah. I thought it was Alhamdulillah, but whatever.
No, you ain't all right.
Dude, the guy got power. I'm not going to say he doesn't. He's way, way more interesting than a Ben Whittaker. I think he's also English, right? Not just because he's Muslim. I'm just saying that dude got power, but I'm going to have to give credit to Bronco Adames because Bronco Adames was keeping his head on the swivel, dude.
That's true.
Bronco Adames was fighting a great fight, dude. He was moving from left to right. He didn't remind me of Julio Cesar Chavez, but at the end of the day, it was night and day between Bronco Adames' performance to his last fight. Bronco Adames in this fight, even though he had a long layoff, he was moving his head. I was like, damn, Bronco, I had never seen that from you.
Gonzalo, you hit the nail on the head as always, man, because when I was watching that fight, I was talking to Bucho at the same time, and it seemed in the early rounds, Sheeraz was landing that jab, and I'm thinking, there we go. Adames is not going to be able to work his way on the inside, which is what a lot of us had predicted, that Sheeraz was going to outbox him. And then little by little, Adames started doing the right things. Head movement, punching off the head movement, and thus creating different angles. Just stabbing the body, not trying to swing his way in, which is not what you want to do against a taller guy. He was working his way in with short little shots, stabbing, and then once he was inside, then he would launch the overhand shots. It was a very good performance on how to fight tall fighters. Very unfortunate not to get the decision over there in Saudi Arabia. But the point remains, Sheeraz, recognize you were going to say something about that, about the switching of trainers after one bad performance.
Yeah, I never liked that. Okay, De La Hoya did that a lot. I thought that kind of hurt De La Hoya's career. From a guy who's, he's super talented, right?
Mm-hmm.
As big as Sheeraz is, De La Hoya was so talented in his absolute prime would have probably beat him up with all that height he has. But he did it, and I thought it hampered him. And, Sheeraz looks like he's there's a push from Turkey to make this guy a big star.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe there's pressure on him to become that, and therefore they're getting a new trainer under the advice. Somebody else could step in, Andy Lee, and do a better job over a performance that he still won the fight. Maybe he should have lost, but it's a fight that he got a W on. So
It was a draw recognized, but the draw is pretty much just like a W.
A draw, excuse me. Yeah, it was a draw. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have said that he was unlucky not to get the win. But yeah, you're right. It was a draw.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's
you fight you live to fight another day,
right,
and it's
right.
okay.
But what I wanted to say about that training, switching trainers, it could go both ways. It could, hey, maybe you pick up some new things as a fighter. But in my experience, it's usually, what he said, Sheeraz said, people are going to think I'm making excuses by changing trainers after a bad performance. Well, maybe sometimes that's what it is. Amir Khan, he would always switch trainers after a loss. I'm thinking, look, none of these guys are going to be able to fix your chin. That's just, they can't do it unless they inject titanium into it or something. I mean, it ain't going to work out. And De La Hoya, the book on De La Hoya during his prime was always that he was uncertain about himself, meaning he didn't know what he wanted to be. Did he want to be a pure boxer? Did he want to be a boxer puncher? Did he want to be a pure puncher slugger, a la Mexican style like Julio Chavez? Which, I mean, I'm not saying Chavez was a slugger, but, for a time there, De La Hoya sort of, especially after that Trinidad fight, when everybody said he ran, he tried to become a more aggressive guy in the Daryl Coley fight and then the Shane Mosley fight, the first one. And then afterwards, when that didn't work, he goes, well, I got to go back to fighting. And then he hired Floyd Mayweather Sr. to try to fight more like a pure boxer. And so it did seem like he never really found out what style he wanted to stick with. And you know what? In my eyes, the best he ever looked, even though he was past his prime by then, was in the Mayweather fight, when he started incorporating more parrying and becoming a little bit more adept at cutting the ring off. He was looking a little bit like what Canelo looks like now. And I said, man, that De La Hoya would have been very dangerous had he not been sticking stuff up his nose, if you know what I mean. Strange, bizarre powders. So.
And the stuff is, where.
No, wait a minute. No, I didn't say that. I was talking about the nose candy. What's the matter with you? But so that's what I'm saying with Sheeraz. It could, because now I'm thinking, well, what happens if you look bad under the tutelage of Andy Lee? You're going to switch trainers again, or are you going to stick by him? Because then it can become a crutch. Subconsciously, the fighter goes, oh, man, I looked bad. Maybe it's the trainer's fault. He's not teaching me what I'm supposed to be learning. I got to switch again. As long as he doesn't go with Bomac. That's the trainer of the day nowadays with everybody. It used to be Derrick James a couple of years ago. Now it's Bomac because he's got Crawford and Keyshawn Davis. And at some point, it's going to be somebody else. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was real quick, because we're going to go soon. The phone lines are still open, by the way, fellas, so call in. We're going to be stick here for a couple of more minutes. In the news, Galal Yafai, who recently stopped Sonny Edwards, looking very good in doing so, by the way, is going to be taking on Francisco El Chihuas Rodriguez Jr. on June the 21st for the WBC interim flyweight title, whatever that is, WBC interim. Very good fight. For those of you that aren't familiar with El Chihuas, they threw him in there with a prime Chocolatito a while back when Rodriguez was only 23, I think. He got stopped. But then he started picking up wins, looking good. Then he stepped in there against Donny Nietes, got outboxed for 12 rounds. Nothing to frown about there. I mean, Donny Nietes was severely underrated. And then he stepped in there against, he fought Ioka in 2021. Very unfortunate not to get the decision. I thought he edged it against Ioka. And then he went back to Japan not that long after, took on Nakatani, and went the distance. It was a very sloppy fight, but that's the type of fight Rodriguez can make with his aggressiveness, with his aggression. And, not a lot of guys have gone the 12-round distance against Nakatani. So Yafai is in for a fight. He comes to fight. He doesn't run. He's not a back foot bitch. Neither is Rodriguez. So look out for that one, fellas. Interesting fight to be sure.
Can you believe fucking Chocolatito never fought Donny Nietes?
Yeah, I mean, Nietes versus Estrada, there's Nietes versus Chocolatito versus... I mean, he fought Ioka. I believe that's the biggest name. Yeah, but it's a shame. It's a shame.
Just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. One can only wonder what could have happened. I'm not sure if Chocolatito beats him. I mean, I would give him the edge by virtue of his combination point. I mean, people forget Chocolatito. When people think of Chocolatito, they think of the last two Estrada fights, the Sorong Visay fights. But prime Chocolatito, he was a scary guy, about as scary as a prime Golovkin. And people, just because he fought in the lower weight divisions, people are forgetting about that. But he was scary.
He was fun to watch.
He was a what?
Yeah, and not only
he was almost perfect to watch.
Almost, yeah.
yeah, almost perfect. Absolutely. Not only just this point has to be mentioned. Smaller fighters, there's a lot of punches thrown, so they kind of age quicker. So that's something to consider, man. This guy's legacy is already cemented.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Neil Simpson in the chat says, "How can anyone take Bomac seriously?" Well, he's got Crawford on his corner, and Crawford speaks highly of him, and we know that the media is infatuated with anything Crawford related, so they big up Bomac a lot. They he holds a lot of weight. No pun intended. He holds a lot of weight with the media. Really sways
literally.
He really sways them like a gravitational pull, almost like he's a planet.
He holds a lot of weight, and anytime he walks, he sways the building. So.
Come on. He sways the planet, the axis, man. Yeah. Polar shifts are going to occur because of him.
Yeah, he looked like that trainer for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the video game. Little Mac, the trainer that's following him in the bicycle.
Yeah, a little bit. I remember when he snuck into the England, or tried to sneak out of England with a pistol. I don't know what he was thinking. And then they try to paint him as a victim. I don't know. There's something about the United States, about weapons in bags.
Why did he need a pistol?
I don't know.
Why does he need a pistol to leave? I mean, is he expecting somebody to fucking meet him at the airport?
He's expecting.
The pistol that he did. The pistol that he hid in the laminated Cheetos bag.
No, wait a minute, Gonzalo. Was that really what? Is that a joke or is that really what?
No. I think it's kind of true. It's true.
So because he thought the tin foil from the Cheeto bag was gonna shield I guess the metal detector. Is that what? You know what? You know why that's BS? You know why that's BS? Because there's no way he's sacrificing his Cheetos for a pistol. Oh no, unless he'd already finished the bag. Then that makes sense. Yeah, then that makes sense. He probably did finish the bag in the car. Like he had 5 minutes to finish it and he just wolfed it all down. Pretty sure he's capable of doing that. And not just a normal Cheeto bag. I'm talking the family-sized, party portion. He just go, like a duck. Ducks don't chew their food; they just swallow. That's what he did. He didn't even chew. He just swallowed the. he just swallowed the Cheetos like a duck at the park. All right, listen. Enough Bomac bashing. We're not even bashing him. We're just having fun here. We're laughing with him. But what I wanted to say was, speaking of weird and oddities here. And by the way, we're doing a Second Renaissance, a watch-along Second Renaissance. We're just going to be watching a bunch of weird videos. So if anybody wants to go over there, go check us out at Rumble. And I'm going to be posting the link in the chat right about now. But speaking of oddities in the meantime, the phone lines are still open, by the way. Make sure to call in, fellas. Call in. We're still here for a couple of minutes. People now, they make these fighters do tier lists. They call them tier lists. So they give fighters tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or 4 tiers. And they have to, and then they're giving a list of names and they got to sort the list out. Like, for example, tier 1, I'm going to put Bivol in there, Usyk in there, blah, blah, blah. You get the drill. So they asked Devin Haney recently over at The Zone to list his tier list. And this is what he had to say.
All right, let's see. AJ. That's my boy, but I'm going to go B.
Okay, so for guys, I don't know if you guys on the panel can see it, but the tier lists are S, there's only 1 spot. A tier is 2 spots. B, 3 spots. C, 4. And D has 5 spots. So D being the lowest level fighter and S being the highest one. So he put AJ at B. He's a B level fighter. Here we go.
Anyway. Ooh. Gotta go A. Zerto.
All right, so he put Zurdo in the D list. He's a D-lister, according to Haney.
That's funny because that's what I think about Haney.
Come on. Haney's an H-level fighter. But
dude is trash, man. He's a bum.
Come on. He's a crumb bum, is what you're saying?
You're nothing but a crumb bum. Me, you, your father. We can go all back in the woods over there, and let's see who comes out alive.
Oh, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Lord of the Flies over here. But yeah, don't they in New York? Isn't that called a ragamuffin?
Something like that. I don't know. In New York, but probably nationwide, we call them a BAN.
BAN. All right.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to say it.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. Now he's saying Jay Opetaya.
He's good, but I don't know who I'm gonna get. I'm gonna go see.
Jay Opetaya is a C fighter, according to Haney.
You know what he reminds me of?
What's that?
Like when he tries to insert his opinion, somebody just blurts out, "Nobody gives a fuck." All right, next person.
Come on, man. Come on. They asked him. They're giving him. He's given the time of day. Busy schedule he's got to give this list for us fans. It's for the fans. All right, KSI. He's got KSI now. The YouTuber boxer. He put him in the D list. Jake Paul. He's got. Okay, let me fast forward here because I. So he puts Teofimo Lopez in the C list, by the way.
A.
Bam, he put him in A.
Shakur.
Now he's got Shakur. He put Shakur in the B list, which I agree with. I think Bam and Inoue are superior to Shakur Stevenson.
Oh, Tyson Fury. See, I know they about.
So he put Tyson Fury C. But Anthony Joshua put in B over Tyson Fury, which I guess that's going to create a lot of debate. But I will say Tyson Fury never got his ass knocked out. I'm pretty sure that's what some people are going to say. But on the other hand, AJ has a slightly better resume. What do you guys think?
I agree. Slightly better resume on AJ, but AJ has gotten knocked the F out.
I really want to see him come back because I want to see what he's got left. I don't like unresolved business. I want to see what AJ's got left, and I still want to see AJ versus Fury. Not so much against Wilder, although I wouldn't mind that fight. What do you got? What about you guys?
I wouldn't mind seeing the Wilder fight. I'll be honest, man. Get that Wilder fight already. I mean, they're both coming off a knockout loss. You know, Wilder looked like he had a heart attack. AJ looked like he fell in quicksand.
It almost seemed, wouldn't it be funny if when AJ got knocked out with that last right hand from Dubois, he made the same sound Tyson made when he sat down in his corner against Jake Paul? Yeah. He just.
He probably did, man.
He probably did, yeah.
He didn't have time because he was drowning.
Hey, at least he didn't shit his pants like Haney did. Let's give him that.
Right. Yes.
Fuck me. I know it. Oh, yeah, I'll go Arthur. Yes, I'll go. Damn. My list is bad.
All right, so he put Arthur Beterbiev with S. Then he gets to Usyk and he goes, oh, shit, I wasted my S tier. So there you go. So that's Haney's list. He has Opetaya, Jaron Boots Ennis, and Teofimo Lopez on the C tier list. I would actually... okay, difficult question. I don't think Shakur... If you're going to put Lopez C tier, you can't have Shakur B. You can't have Shakur Stevenson B because what the fuck has he done? Teofimo Lopez is undisputed champion, two-division undisputed champion.
Yeah. No, really, I saw an interview with Devin Haney while I was working, so I said, let me click on. They asked him, what are you going to wear? You know, because this is the Fight of Fury montage, or where it's not my thing. We're going to dress according to how Turkey she wants us to wear, according to the, what do you call it? The theme of the show. But I wish somebody would ask, hey, Devin, did you really shit your pants? And that fucking fight. I asked him about how he dresses.
You really try to sue somebody after you get your ass beat? Yo, don't say nothing to me. I would super duper violate Devin, man. Every single don't say nothing to me, man. I'm afraid you're gonna get me arrested, man. Fuck all that. I'm not doing this interview with this fucking rat over here. That's what they should all do.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Devin
you're saying people shouldn't be doing interviews with him? Is that what you said?
I wouldn't be doing an interview around him.
Right. Well, I mean,
No,
they
the
have to.
dude's
He's
so
going to be.
conceited, and the guy that interviewed him, can't recall his name. It was another, like, it's his podcast. He told the guy, "I know you were begging on Twitter for the interview." Devin Haney still thinks he's the fucking guy. He said, "You begged me for this interview." I thought that was so weird.
Yeah, that is a weird thing to
Why
say.
you begging you for shit, man? You're a rat. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. I mean, interestingly enough, look, I want to say this about Teofimo Lopez. I dislike him as a character. I think he's got some funny moments, like when he told that group of people that were these press members who were trying to press him on the racism thing. He said, "No, you know what? We're all racist at the end of the day because we're all against the one race that matters, the human race." I thought that was pretty funny. And then when he switched it on them, he goes, "Man, y'all are stupid. Y'all need to do your research." What the fuck? So he turned it on them. That was funny. But for the most part, he's just too annoying. That being said, whether I find him annoying or not is immaterial in regards to his accomplishments. He's a two-time undisputed champion. And the fact that he had one bad performance against Jermaine Ortiz, and they dropped him. Ring Magazine dropped him from the top 10 pound-for-pound list. Meanwhile, for a little while thereafter, they had Tank Davis in the top 10, who hasn't even come close to accomplishing half of what Teofimo Lopez has. They kept him in the top 10 for a while. And then they finally took him off after the bad performance against Lamont Roach. So I'm thinking, why are you going to take away the two-time undisputed champ from the list? I don't think Teofimo Lopez gets too much respect. At the end of the day, that's his fault too, because of the way he behaves. I don't think the media appreciates him that much. But it is what it is. There is a little bit of Teofimo Lopez disrespect going on as it pertains to his skills.
No, PDA, sometimes, he's annoying. I would have to say this about Teofimo Lopez. He got a lot of energy, how he's dancing. Some people say, "Oh, he's like kind of Camacho." He's annoying, but you have to kind of take that energy as like the dude got a good gas tank. He's got energy for days. He's a young man. He's athletic. So he brings energy, whether it's positive or negative, that you can tell he's got energy that a lot of like these fighters don't have. You can tell he's got it kind of correlates to the gas tank. He's athletic. So he's always going to bring that into the ring. Can he hone that with the skills? He's got to improve some of the skills. That's all.
And his vocabulary too.
No, you're right, man. His lack of vocabulary, actually. Or it's not even vocabulary, it's the lack of grammar, understanding of the building blocks of grammar. When he calls past tense plural, it's like, well, what are you talking about? It's not, I mean, but that was weird, man. That was weird. But I mean, and then again, heat of the moment, right? Heat of the moment.
He really had a chance to roast Haney, and he let that ball slip.
Well, I must say, man, he was going at Haney, and it allowed Ryan Garcia to ask Haney, "How come your little brother knew that I was going to test positive days before the actual test results came out? What was that about?" Yeah.
What's up, you little snitch? You and your brother.
I mean, listen, people make predictions. Predictions can come, be accurate, but it is suspect. It's suspect that Snack. You got Victor Conte working with Devin Haney. Victor Conte knows how to manufacture PDs that fly under the radar. You have to wonder, again, there's no proof that we can use to indict Conte on this or judge him on it or prove him guilty, but it's suspect. And then his little brother comes out and goes, Haney's little brother, Allah told me, he showed me a vision that he's going to test. It's a very specific thing to say. And I don't know, it's weird. Again, I'm not going to die on this hill and say he absolutely knows there's some fuckery going on with Victor Conte, but it's weird. And if, like Recognize says, if there's something ever comes out where they say Victor Conte was being underhanded, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised he's still even involved in the sport.
Imagine I told you this story, BDA. Mm-hmm. God told me that one day we'll be on a podcast called BDA from a Mexican from Canada. What would you say?
I would say, first of all, God is very generous that he made that happen for you. That's number one. But yeah, you're right. I get what you're saying. It's,
you say I'm full of shit. Like I told you this after the fact, after I met you and everything.
Right. No, yeah. I mean, I would say, all right, get off your knees now. You know what I mean? It's like we keep saying, yes, there is such a thing as conspiracy theories in the pejorative term, meaning people that look at every little thing without any evidence or proof and they extrapolate that into a whole conspiracy. But then there's also the opposite end of the spectrum, which is coincidence theories. Oh, it's just a coincidence, bro. Don't worry about it, bro. Why are you interested in it, bro? Just don't worry about it, bro. Let's talk about the big game on Saturday. Nah, there is such a thing as people conspiring to do things. Yes, Gonzalo.
I noticed something, and at first my mind went to Ryan Garcia, but no, Devin Haney is fighting Ramirez at 144.
Yeah, Bucho kept telling me that it's all those fights, I believe, are at, well, except the Teofimo Lopez Barboza one, obviously. Ramirez, Haney, and Garcia versus Romero are at catchweights. Essentially, they're welterweight bouts.
So he's pulling up Ramirez, where Ramirez is usually, I don't think he's ever fought above 140. So that gives him an extra leeway of the 3 pounds plus the rehydration, to where, like, okay, it gives them that belief that I can beat Ramirez, because Ramirez is a 140 pounder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, the fight, if he wins, granted he's got that little leeway, like you could kind of call it an advantage versus Ramirez versus Ryan Garcia, because I believe he's going to knock out Rolly Romero within 3 rounds. I just do. Is that fight going to take place at 147? I don't know. But I'm just saying, Devin Haney's still going back to the whole weight bullying thing, where he's always trying to get these little advantages over fighters.
Yeah.
Can he just let that shit go? Because he's a big guy. Come on.
I mean, if they do the rematch between Garcia and Haney, if that ever comes out, or if that actually manifests, it's not going to be a 140. Neither guy can make 140. I mean, even Haney, who was killing himself to make 135, he was looking like... I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for 28 Years Later, the zombie movie. There's one particular zombie in that trailer that looks emaciated. That's what Haney looked like the day before the fight. Just completely gaunt. And even at 140, when he was going to fight Prograis, remember, he weighed in at 140 on the dot, I think, for the Prograis fight, and then he ended up weighing 163 or something like that. 165 maybe even. I think it was 165 on fight night. So this is a big dude. And same thing about Ryan Garcia. These guys ain't even going to be fighting at 140. Possibly going to be in between. Just to give the people the impression that they're still junior welterweights. But yeah, that's the fight. And Haney, in the meantime, has been saying that he's embracing the bad guy role. Which, it's not really... People don't even see him as a bad guy necessarily. They just think he's a joke. Which is even worse. I'd rather be the bad guy than be seen as a walking joke. But that's the way they're trying to spin it. Speaking of Haney, who's trained by his father, here's another father-son combo before we go.
Eddie Hearn and Benn saying.
As you know, Eubank and Benn are going to be fighting next Saturday, and Chris Eubank is the guy who slapped Conor Benn with an egg because Conor Benn had tested positive in the build-up to the initially planned Eubank fight a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago. And thereafter, Conor Benn blamed it on eggs, contaminated eggs or something. So, of course, Eubank Jr. slapped him with an egg in the press conference. And so here is Chris Eubank, father of Chris Eubank Jr., the estranged father, giving his opinion on his son's antics.
Why aren't you with Eubank Jr.? Why aren't you part of the fight week activities? Why aren't you in the corner?
Because I will not be an accomplice to their stupidity, to their circus. Junior, you're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad.
Okay, I don't know if you guys can recognize Gonzalo. If you can look at your screen when he starts. Actually, I'm gonna, because I don't want to share the screen because I don't want it to freeze. But I'm gonna share the screen with you. Hopefully this works. Look at you tell me what's going on here with Chris Eubank Sr.'s mannerisms when he's talking to his son. You're a disgrace. Check this out.
You're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad. I would never be in your corner. You're a disgrace. You're smashing an egg in someone's face, and then you're saying you're trying to justify it. There's no justification for that. There's nothing noble about that.
All right, first of all, before we get down to the crux of his argument, what do you guys think about the body language? He looks like an old school rapper from the early 90s when he does it.
Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that? That's disgraceful.
See that? Why does he turn to the side and then starts getting near the camera?
I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must say mad.
What is that? Yeah, like Bernard says, who's Karen? I suppose that's Chris Eubank's mother and Chris Eubank's ex-wife, I believe. By the way, I think Chris Eubank was married to a white woman. Do you guys know that?
Well, I mean, his son is light skinned, so yeah.
Yeah.
His son is half white.
Does that surprise you that he was married to a white woman?
No, not really.
Surprised me the first time I saw it, which was in the 2000s. But what do you guys think about him? Some people are saying, "Oh, what a shame that his father, is not going to be in the corner." But what do you guys think about that? Does Chris Eubank Sr. have a point? Did slapping Conor Benn with an egg go too far?
It's just promotion.
So if he were to kick him in the balls, would you say, well, that's just promotion?
I don't know.
Come on, Gonzalo.
I don't know.
Come on.
Hey, what's the egg about? It was the egg is about the whole thing about because he tested positive for the drug.
Well, I believe Conor Benn blamed the egg contamination, contaminated eggs for the positive test. But look, I agree with Chris Eubank. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying this fight is not really like at the top level. This is like a domestic fight, but it's got a lot of intrigue, so it's probably going to do very well. But I mean, it's not like the best fight in the best. Although I do favor Ben because I think he's a better fighter, the younger fighter, the harder puncher, even though they say he's smaller. But really, what has Eubank Jr. really done? I mean, in my opinion, I think he gets knocked out. But yeah, this is just to add promotion to the fight.
Yeah, perhaps. And, Chris Eubank Sr., he's saying all the right things, denouncing that type of behavior. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I got to wonder, why is Chris Eubank Jr. acting that way? And what part did Sr. have, or perhaps didn't have, in order to keep his son under control? Because from what I understand, Chris Eubank Jr. was living in a nice posh house, as they say in England, upper quality neighborhood, upper class neighborhood rather, and he would sneak out of the house at night and join gangs and do the gang lifestyle, getting into street fights and so on. So I gotta wonder when something like when a kid is seeking out that type of behavior, something's going on at home, or maybe something's not happening, which is discipline. So there must be going some. Maybe Chris Eubank Sr. deserves some of the blame for that type of behavior.
Well, I mean, but BDA, but he's not a kid anymore. This dude is like almost fucking 35.
But that's what I'm saying. So what happened? How come he couldn't? A good normal person shouldn't be doing that, slapping people with eggs.
Maybe his father didn't whip his ass enough.
That's what I'm thinking. And then his father will sometimes pull away from his son's life. I think it's also, I'm telling him, I think it's Chris Eubank Sr. who's a bit of the problem too in how Junior turned out. I don't know. It's just the way it looks like to me at first glance. Because he says all the right things. Junior, you're not supposed to be throwing eggs. That's disgraceful. But then he fucking exiles his son.
Undiplomatic.
I'm telling you, there's something off there. By the way, Chris Eubank Sr. too. The suits, wearing cowboy badges, like a 5-year-old wearing a cowboy suit. He drives a trailer truck in the narrow streets of England. How crazy is that? He does it all for shock value, it seems. And so he's got to take some of the... I suspect some of the blame goes to him too in regards to how Chris Eubank Jr. ended up. Yeah.
Flamboyant.
Yeah, exactly. This is all part of my new show that I'm going to be starting over at Second Renaissance, BDA's Parenting Advice. Go check it out. But what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah.
And by the way, a lot of people think that, I don't know why the fucking Chris Eubank's going to win. I think he's getting knocked out in the 8th round.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Damn.
My prediction.
You think Chris Eubank's going to get knocked out?
Absolutely.
And
you think the weight cut?
Yeah, that's what I ask.
Partially, but I just think that...
I don't even know what weight is going to
Conor
be.
Benn's gonna knock him out, dude.
What weight?
within 8
What weight
rounds.
class are they fighting in?
160, I believe, or maybe a catch weight. I have to check it out, man. That's a good question. I'm gonna check it out right now. Hold on. But you know what? Gonzalo brings up an interesting point because Chris Eubank Jr., I mean, he's bigger. He does hit harder. But at the same time, he got knocked the fuck out by, well, not knocked the fuck out, but he got knocked out. He got stopped by Liam Smith. And Liam Smith is not that big a puncher. And I know Conor
That's
Benn
true.
is a smaller guy. He's like Wolverine sized. But he can crack if he wants to.
What weight
Especially,
class was that?
was that?
And what weight class did Tim Smith knock out Chris Eubank?
160, I believe.
Oh, so he might have a problem with that weight.
Well, here we go. It says Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight is being contested at the middleweight limit of 160 pounds. Eubank Jr. typically fights at super middleweight, while Benn fights at welterweight. For this fight, they agreed on the 160-pound weight with a rehydration clause, allowing Eubank Jr. to weigh up to 170 pounds on the day of the fight. So I don't know how I feel about that rehydration clause. I'm not a big fan of those. Why
Okay,
fight?
because Ben's a welter, so
Yeah, but then why
Dark
fight the?
Magnet-
Yeah, but why fight the
Yeah.
guy then, and then put on that fight him at his weight and allow him to rehydrate as much as he wants, or don't fight him. Yeah, Conor Benn's the one that is the one that wants that fight. Oh, by the way, we didn't even talk about this real quick, man. Okay, so Perez, Jorge Garcia Perez upsets Charles Conwell yesterday on the DAZN undercard of the women's fighting. As soon as this fight was over, I went to sleep. You can bet your ass on that. But yeah, this was a bit of an upset, man. Well, it was an upset because Charles Conwell, I don't know if you guys recall, but we did a deep dive into the, I hate that term. Actually, let me switch it up. We did a extensive look into the 154-pound division a couple of months ago. I don't know if you guys remember that. And Charles Conwell, I think, was number 8 on Ring Magazine. And, you know, some of you guys didn't have much to say about Conwell because you really didn't know much about him. And neither did I. When I had to come up with the list of attributes and flaws and stuff like that, it was hard to find because he's never really fought anybody. But the Golden Boy Promotions were doing the right things with him. They kept him active, even though he was fighting relative nobodies. They kept him active, and he was starting to build up a bit of a reputation as like there was an interrogation point mark over him. What can he do in this jam-packed division? And as early or late as yesterday, people on Twitter were starting to refer to him as the dark horse of the division. In fact, in the DAZN telecast, the commentators started referring to him as the potential boogeyman of the division. Well, that all went to the crapper yesterday as Perez upset Conwell via split decision. Did you guys end up catching that fight? And if so, what did you think?
Yeah, I was getting Margarito vibes with that Mexican guy. He lost 4 times, but 28 knockouts in, like, I believe 31 fights at a domestic level. But wasn't Charles Conwell the guy that had killed the American Patrick Day back in the day, like a few years ago?
I don't recall.
So, I mean, you always got to think about that. Conwell, I think he killed a guy in the ring.
I don't know.
So, I mean, you can.
Sounds like you're making things up. Sounds like you're making things up, Gonzalo.
No, I'm pretty sure Conwell killed Patrick Day.
Yeah, Gonzalo's like, I heard he took down 3 Chechens in Russia. I was like, what? But no, okay, maybe. I have to look it up, Gonzalo. I'm not familiar with that story. But, you know, it's interesting. You brought up Margaret. You know what, Gonzalo, and recognize this is interesting. They mentioned in the telecast that Perez turned pro at 16. He's 28 years old now. So that's why I always say, watch out for these relative unknowns from Mexico. It shouldn't be a surprise anymore because on Fight Week, I actually looked this guy up on YouTube and there were plenty of his fights available. So I don't know why some of these guys overlook these Mexican fighters. I suspect it also has to do with the media partially. I don't know why it's in vogue to downplay Mexican fighters nowadays. But this dude turned pro at 16. So he's 28. He's had 12 years of experience at the professional level. Yes, he's fought a bunch of nobodies. But think about it. 12 years as a professional. That's a lot of experience fighting hard-nosed pugs over in Mexico. And, you know, he's 28 now, so he still has youth plus experience on his side. And you saw that experience. He wasn't that easy to hit. He was rolling with the shots. He was dipping to the sides to fire off body shots, whether with the right or with the left hook. He was setting up that left hook to the liver beautifully. And I liked his moxie too. Every time Conwell would hit him with something, Perez would come right back, which is something that not every fighter has, that ability, that drive to say, okay, you hit me, I'm getting you back with something. And it was a very close fight. I was actually disappointed in Conwell because as a shorter guy, I thought that he would be able to, at some point, make the adjustments to get real close and just peck away at Perez. But credit to Perez, who didn't allow it. And, they were also playing a little sly game in there. Both guys, they would both pull each other into each other with one hand and then make it seem as if they weren't clinching with that hand. They were just really holding with the armpit and then punching with the other. Both guys were doing it. And I got to give it up to the referee whom I criticized. What's his name? Taylor or something? I criticized him for the Torres fight because he took a point away from Vianello early in the fight and then he stopped. He never called out the clinching. But here, he did what you're supposed to. Okay, if you're going to allow both guys to clinch, you got to allow both guys to clinch. No favoritism for allowing one guy to clinch and not the other. So, shout out to Perez for that fight. For that win, rather. And what do you guys think, Perez? Could he do something in the 154-pound division, or does he lack speed and power to really compete against guys like Boashak and Mortazaliv, who are just as big as him and perhaps even harder punchers? What do you fellas reckon?
Fight, because Conwell's pretty good. He was in there. Obviously, he's got to step it up. He's got power. He's lanky. And he's a good fighter. But now, obviously, you're facing world-class competition. You got to step it up. And I thought he was giving me Margarito vibes. But he's got to really step it up some more, be more aggressive, and put his punches together with more mean intentions. Because in the other day, he was out pointing and he had more volume than Conwell, but then you got to be more meaner to separate yourself from the pack.
Yeah, like Quag says, 154 pounds is too stacked. If he fights a guy like Boashak or Mortazaliv, those guys are just as tall as he is, but perhaps even stronger and better on the inside. Boashak just doesn't stop coming. Unless you can hit him with one shot the way Brandon Adams did, he's just going to keep on coming. You're going to have to work with him like Ortiz did. And that's the other thing. I'm on Twitter the day before the fight, this Conwell fight, and I see people saying, wow, Conwell versus Ortiz, that's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a good fight. I'm thinking, well, that's a step down for Ortiz. It seems like even after Ortiz just beat Madrimov and prior to that beat Boashak, he's still not getting credit. People are still putting him at the Conwell level, which is insane because Conwell hadn't proven anything. I guess just because he's an American undefeated fighter, people were putting him on the same level as Ortiz. But yeah, there's just a bunch of disrespect right there, I felt, towards Ortiz. And I even saw one person, again, it was just one person saying that Conwell got robbed. And I'm thinking even he looked discouraged during the fight, that he wasn't going his way. And again, it's not the end of the road for Conwell, but it's just, as the fight was progressing, it was still close, and I said, okay, maybe Conwell's going to make the adjustments and come out on top. And I was thinking, this is exactly the type of fight he needs, because some of the guys he'd been fighting recently weren't really that good, and none of the other top guys are going to fight him yet because he doesn't have that, he doesn't bring much to the table. So a guy who's relatively unknown, but who's tough, like Perez, I thought that was a good fight. I'm glad that it was competitive for him because it was only going to make him better. But then he started becoming more than just competitive. He started losing it, and indeed he ended up losing. And I said, "Oh boy, back to the drawing board for him." But again, it's not the end of the world. It's not like he got dropped 3 times and shed his pants. It's not like he got stopped. Look at Boashak. He got stopped against Brandon Adams, and he came back, and now he's considered one of the best at the division. So. Again, the loss is not the end of the world, but it does dampen his profile a little bit for Conwell because they were trying to build him up as the dark horse in the division, and now he loses that by losing that fight. Speaking of Mortazaliv, who you might remember him beat Tszyu, absolutely obliterated him. Well, Tszyu is speaking Sebastian Fondora to beat Mortazaliv. Here's what it says. It says, or what he said rather, some things are out of your control, Tszyu said. It's weird. 1 year just turned sideways. Right now, it's about getting back to what I can control and where I belong. Fortuna has the top dog status, Tszyu said. It's a good division. It's red hot right now, and there are many fights to be made. I think Fondora beats Mortazaliv. I think Fondora is a better boxer, to be honest with you. Bakram has power, but he's very easily hit. I can't base my fight with him because I never got to show myself. It ended so early. When fights go early and you're caught early, it's no way to determine what could have happened. Don't be scared, it happens. Mortazaliv had some pop, he says. When he hit me, the power was different. So what do you guys think? Do you think Fondora beats Mortazaliv?
Not sure, BD, to tell you the truth.
He has an outside chance of winning that fight. He could stick and move. Oh no, I don't know about move, but he could definitely use his long arms.
I mean,
maybe keep him at bay.
I mean, Fondora has some very good uppercuts on the inside. And, Tim Tszyu does make a good point. Mortazaliv is not exactly a defensive wizard in there. But I keep thinking, two schools of thought. One, Fondora is taller than Mortazaliv, and he's going to be fighting him on the inside. And I don't think Mortazaliv has ever fought somebody who can do some of the things Fondora can on the inside. Flip side to that coin is, I harken back to Brian Mendoza, La Bala, knocking the crap out of Fondora in that fight in 2023. Or was it 2024? I'm getting the timelines mixed up. But anyway, he knocked him out. And Mortazaliv has that type of power. So, I don't know, man. Tim Tszyu, he would know. He fought both guys. But I'm surprised he's picking Fondora. Fondora has some good uppercuts, though. Look at what he did to Erickson Lubin. Made him look Asian.
Yeah, it's because he's so tall, so the sweet spot for his uppercuts, when he's pushing past through the target, by the time the uppercut catches up to his shoulders, he's generating a lot of power when he's punching up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, yeah, he's got power with the uppercuts on the inside. But at the same time, Mortazaliv got good hooks.
Yeah, like Rickman Thomas in the chat says, Mendoza KO'd him with a left hook. Backram specialty. Yeah, that doesn't bode well for old Fondora. I'm telling you, this division is wide open. Some of the best guys already have losses. Anybody came out. Tszyu has a loss. Madrimov has 2 losses. Bohashok has a loss. Mortazaliv is undefeated. Okay, Fondora has a loss. Brian Mendoza has a bunch of losses. Conwell just lost. It's anything goes in this division, let me tell you. Very insane.
And it's an interesting division. Because it's always been like a revolving door with not too many fighters have defended their titles in that division for too many title defenses back to back. It just keeps switching hands. And I could even go back 2-3 years ago, or maybe more, where one fighter wins, but then that fighter loses against another guy, but then that guy loses to another guy, and the title is always switching hands. I know Jermel Charlo was champion at that weight, but I mean, he had a questionable win against Castano too.
Yeah, man. I mean,
he's been inactive for like 2-3 years now.
Makes me wonder whether the division is that good, or maybe it's because all the guys in there are overrated. By the way, shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. I forgot to read his super chat a while back. Shout out to him. He says, Teofimo stole my dance moves. Is that right? Rapax, that's a serious allegation to be making about a professional fight. Now, Teofimo Lopez has complained in the past that he lacks the funds that people would normally think a fighter of his caliber would possess. Recently he had said that he didn't really have that much in his account. So I'm wondering, maybe he can't litigate against you for making those comments. But let's just remind people about... Yes.
Can I say something real quick? Dude, like, the whole Tim Tszyu, I mean, that was a good win coming back as far as, like, it was impressive, but the dude was a fucking punching bag, that Joey Spencer guy, man. He's just not that big of a guy for 154. He made Tim Tszyu look good, but you cannot tell me that the dude was not just a fucking... he was a cannon there, just fucking catching punches. Like, free-for-all, dude. The dude was fucking garbage, that Joey Spencer guy, man.
I mean, yeah, Joey Spencer was a good comeback win after the horrendous year Tim Tszyu had. But yeah, his defense leaves much to be desired. Speaking of of Joey Spencer, old Joey. Hey, Joey, when he went back to the neighborhood, hey, Joey, you let an Aussie beat you? You let an Aussie beat you? Who the fuck are these people even? What the hell's an Aussie? You let that guy beat you? Yeah, he must have been tough going back to the Italian neighborhood. Although I think he doesn't really hang out with Italians. The way he was bigging up Deontay Wilder and saying that, yeah, people from Detroit, they're cheaters, man. I know. I fought them in the amateurs. I don't know. The way he was trying to cozy up to Wilder, I don't think he hangs out with Italians. I don't think so. So yeah, man, I think that's about it for today. We're going to wrap it up. Shout out to everybody who called in, everybody who donated the super chat, everybody who, what the hell? Oh, there you go. That's Teofimo Lopez's moves right there.
Yeah, are you avoiding the whole topic about Sebastian Fondora's sister? How she knocked out that Mexican girl that was like super small?
I mean, avoid it. I mean, I didn't even watch the fight. What the hell am I going to say about that?
Yeah, man. That chick's just fucking way too powerful and too tall and too skinny to where she's always going to get the advantage against females.
You know what, Gonzalo? I don't know. Sorry, I got to apologize to you. As soon as you said women's boxing, I started falling asleep. I missed half of what you said. Sorry. No disrespect, but I'm just saying. I fell asleep. What do you want from me? Here's the interesting question. Who could beat, I don't know the name of the other lady she fought, Fondora. I'd be interested in seeing them in a sandwich making contest. Who can make the best sandwich? You know, so a lot of women don't know how to make sandwiches, believe it or not. They can't even make eggs anymore. Some of these younger ladies. So I think that's a much, much harder endeavor for them than actually fighting. And perhaps even more entertaining for us people to watch, rather than watching two broads going at it. By the way, I'm kidding around. People are going to take this too seriously, I bet. Everybody takes life too seriously. It's Easter Sunday. Come on. Jesus would want us to have a good life. Believe me, I know. I got a direct line with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He lets me know what's up. And thus, I let you know what's up. Be that as it may, we got to go. Shout out to Gonzalo. Shout out to Recognize for being on. Like I said, shout out to everybody who called in, everybody who donated the super chat. I'm running low on energy here a little bit. I don't know if I should drink coffee. Recognize you're more of a night owl. What's the latest you've ever drank a cup of coffee at? Recognize. He's probably drinking coffee right now. Too busy to answer. Gonzalo, how about you? What's the latest you've ever drank a cup of coffee at?
I drank coffee later, but I remember you were talking about it a few weeks ago. I think it's the cutoff point. The cutoff point for me, because this is what I experienced, like 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's what I've heard some people say. I've heard some people say that, and because I told people that I might be doing a second renaissance, but I'm we've been on here for 2 hours. Then if I take a break, my energies might not recharge, and so I don't know. I'll leave it up to the people. People, what do you say? Second renaissance, yeah or nay? You let me know. I'll wait for a couple of minutes here before we depart. I recognize I'm disappointed he won't even give me an answer. I mean, come on, what's up with that? He's ignoring me. I will not be ignored, let me tell you. People are saying, well, hold on, let me let the chat populate. Gonzalo, are you looking forward to then the Conor Benn Eubank fight?
A little bit. I'm looking forward to the fight card in New York with Garcia and all of those guys.
Which fight are you more excited for in that card?
I'm interested in the Ramirez versus Haney and Barbosa versus Teofimo. I think those are good fights. I think Ryan Garcia knocks out Rolando Romero easily.
Whoa. Okay. We'll see, man. We'll see. You know me. I'm not confident in Ryan Garcia. Not that in his abilities, but in his work ethic. That's the big asterisk for me. Lopez Barbosa. I'm looking forward to that one because I think Lopez is going to sort of what's the word I'm looking for here? Overtake Barbosa late in the fight by virtue of his superior speed and experience. But I don't know, man. You just never know with Teofimo Lopez either when he fights a mover. People are saying, shout out to all the pimps out here. They're pretty cool. Double L says he doesn't want a second renaissance. Dark Heido says yes to the renaissance. Knockout Net says yay to the second renaissance. Stop doing them all together, says Muhammad. I'm hard, Bruce Lee. Okay, so that's 2 people for, 2 people against. Alejandro Solis says, BDA, you're a robot. You don't need coffee. The Quack says, I got Ryan in 6. Nightmare says second Rainy. Was that Gonzalo?
And believe it or not, BDA, the Williams Skull fight, I'm interested in that fight too.
Oh, really? Well,
versus Canelo Alvarez.
I'm ambivalent about that. I'll tell you the truth. Hey, by the way, Gonzalo, speaking of Canelo, you know how we always talk about how he doesn't throw enough with the sledgehammer shots, single shots. You know how many shots he threw against Munguia? I just found out. I never looked it up before. You want to take a guess?
I don't know, less than 500, 350,
over
400?
500. Over 500. He threw 530, I think.
Oh, really?
I'm surprised. I didn't see. That's why I think it's BS when he said, "Oh, I tried. I held him up. I took him the distance because I let him survive." I don't know, man. If he's throwing over 500 shots, which is above his average, I think he was trying to get Munguia out of there. But it just goes to show you that it looks as if he's not throwing much, but because it's one punch at a time. But yeah, he did throw over 500 shots in that fight. So it's quite a lot of punches for old Canelo right there. Doesn't bode well for William Skull, let me tell you, who doesn't really have much of a chin. All right, so Nightmare says, yes, second Renaissance. All right, stay tuned for it. I guess we're going to do it, but just give me a little time here to get prepared. It's going to take maybe a couple of minutes, 10 minutes maybe. 10 minutes maybe. So shout out to Recognize, shout out to Gonzalo for joining us, shout out to everybody who called in, everybody who donated with the super chat. Don't forget to check us out over at the Second Renaissance on Rumble, exclusively on Rumble, where you can pretty much say as much as you want. There you go. That's the link right there. And let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to JumpTube. Shout out to Rigman Thomas, Eparokua, Manos, Nightmurph, one of the initiated. Who else we have here? The Quags, another one of the initiated. Alejandro Solis, Mohammed Amart, Bruce Lee, Rapax Trucking Company, one of the initiated. Double L, Manos, Knockout Ned, Pancho Villa, Edward Torres, HJ92, Adam, Parukua, Dark A Dog, another one of the initiated. Blue Track 97, To Matador, DJ, Mr. G.4, The Butcher, Warrior Way. And if I forgot anybody, fellas, JumpTube in there as well. If I forget anybody, it's because we got to go, fellas. But shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Check out the Second Renaissance. Oh, excuse me. Shout out to everybody. Second Renaissance. Second Renaissance coming up. It's Easter Sunday. If it's a watch-along show, that means we're going to be watching videos of all sorts. But I might start out the show by looking at some biblical videos. Did Jesus Christ really exist? That's a big question that's been going on for close to a decade now, when it started becoming popular to question the actual existence of Jesus Christ. Not necessarily whether he was the Messiah, but did he just even exist? So stay tuned for that one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Roll.